Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Paranormal Round Table. Got an issue. Should never have been talking about what we were talking about. The camera is completely skewed, and then we don't have any stream coming in right here. There it goes. Weird, wild stuff. Okay, so we had some problems in the studio trying to get set up. We were talking about the Denver airport, and some weird stuff started happening. I'm at a loss. I don't know. Feel weird. Coincidence? Maybe. As you can see, I'm using this unwieldy mic today for issues we're having. And in the studio with me, I have Mushu.
Of course, the one and only.
Can y'all hear Mushu? Let me know if you heard him. Say it again. Say something. Mushu.
Am I coming through? Is my mic working?
You have to wait because there's going to be a delay between...
Yeah, they could probably hear you saying that.
I'm coming through.
Yeah. What's crazy is I had a couple stories that we were going over about the Denver airport. I just recently had to fly one of my godchildren from LA into the Denver airport and had to talk with his mother about the weird stuff at the Denver airport. So now I started going over some reports that I've gotten over the years, and I thought, you know what, maybe I could do an episode on this. But I don't think I'm there yet. I don't have enough to make an entire episode unless I just want to talk about the weird stuff that's going on. That other people have reported that you can find anywhere on YouTube. I don't have a lot of people's personal encounters about the Denver airport, but I do have a couple, and they were weird. And so I thought maybe I could throw those in there. And they're very similar, too. The kind of reports that you have to kind of make sure you don't get them mixed up. That's how similar they were. And one of them I could have saved for Christmas time, but I don't have enough stories about this particular to make an entire episode for that. So I'm going to throw a couple of them out there. But first, let's get the Patreon read, and let's get started. Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. That's the coordinates to get in touch with me. You can also get in touch with me through Facebook or meet me on the astral plane when we are out of our bodies. Just kidding. Everybody's going to go like, oh, his eyes rolled back in his head. Yeah, he's a demon. Terrifying. All right, let's see. Adam Jinx, Andrew, Brady Matsunaga, Christine, Boone Charian. I hope I said your name right and didn't mess it up if that's your actual name. David Vigil, Debbie Wolf, Dorothy Metcalf, Elaine E., Enid Kindley, Fat Squatch, Jason Paul Tyson, Jim Kovach, Joyce Burnett, Kevin Scott, Maynard W., Melissa, Michael Turner, Nova, Pam Willard Wittes, Polly G., Peter Harlamos, Ricardo Ramirez, Ron Cox, Sir Paul, Stacy Southwell, Stephen Rivas, Tim Bernard, Titan. Always good to see you in the chat when you're in there. You're always so generous, and you were a really cool dude to meet at the conference. Vicky Walker, Barbara Blindy, Charles Hamill, Cluffysaurus Rex, Corey Elliott, Curtis Turner, who's like a brother to me, but we're not related. Cyril, David Allman, Dead Man Walking, Derek Tribble, Dick Richards, Gloria Smith, Graydon McKee, Guy Helder Ortega, James Estrada, who is a part-time moderator, John Gee, Julie Shearer, Kenny Irish, great author, who I wrote the foreword for his new book, International Cryptids. Go check it out on Amazon. Christy, Mark, Melissa Koyman, Mimi Piccolelli, Pauline Rome, Ricardo Herrera, Shonda Hardinger, Sonia Girding, Super Hornet 1, Susan Woodcarver, Taylor Alexandra Orick, Terry Fusler, Tim Lewis, and Tracy Bond. Now remember, if you are a Patreon member and you are a $20 tier, you will get a swag bag from us. I don't know what to call it. If you're a $10 tier, then after 3 months, you will get that. $20 automatically will get you the swag bag. But I have an issue. There's somebody that sent me a message saying that they were a Patreon member, but I couldn't find your handle anywhere. So if you could try to figure out, maybe we could figure out what your handle is. I'm gonna try to find this person really quickly, and we can. Jason Tyson says he's a $20 tier, and Jason, don't see your handle on here. I'd be more than happy to send it to you, but I don't have you down on here. Just send me your handle. If you could do that for me, Anthony, look up Jason Tyson, see if he's on there on the Patreon, because he messaged me this a couple days ago. And he says here, I've been a $20 tier member for a few months, and at first I didn't want to ask for anything, but now I think I really would enjoy some sweet PRT swag, gear, whatever. My shipping info is as follows. And he says, by the way, I've been loving your live stream. Keep up the awesome work. I can't wait for your book to come out. So it sounds like a big fan. And I'd like to, don't ever be afraid to ask for what is yours. If I tell you that I'm going to give you something for being a Patreon member, I mean I'm going to give you something besides the content. I want to give you something. I want to give you stuff. I really do. You think I'm joking? We like to give stuff away, don't we, Tony?
I mean, it's taking up space here, so the more we give away,
there you go. That's exactly it. The reason is just simple. It's simple, just math. We only have so many cubic square feet, and we have a lot of stuff, so we need to give them. We need it.
And as you can see, Wolf is a big guy, so the more space we have, the better.
Okay, well, that doesn't have anything to do with it, because, just being a large mammal doesn't make me take up more room in here. Tony's just taking a swipe at me because he's scrawny.
Yeah.
But tomorrow he's supposed to start. You're supposed to
work
write
out. Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow he's going to be training with former Mr. Universe. Ed Brown is a good friend of mine. So hopefully his scrawniness will become,
Hopefully.
We'll turn it into some. Folks, I got to take care of something. I'll be right back. Hold on 1 second. Do not go anywhere. All right, told you I'd be right back. So me and Barton Nunley have embarked on our ambitious project to drop a bunch of content for October to give you a whole bunch of stuff to listen to. And we've already recorded, 6.5 hours. We recorded with Chad Lewis a couple days ago. Great interview. It was a discussion. It was a really good discussion. Then Daryl Denton. Daryl, if you're in the group, put the name of your chat. If you're in the chat, put the name of your group on here, and so I can kind of advertise it. And don't forget, I'm going to be at the Bigfoot conference October 14th, 15th, and 16th with my friends Barton Nunley, Ken Gerhard, and Lyle Blackburn. I am a sponsor. PRT is an official sponsor of the Texas Bigfoot Conference with Craig Woolheater. So Craig is a good friend of mine. These people are all good friends of mine. And one of our friends that's going to be there is Bigfoot Rob, or Michigan Rob. A lot of people call him Bigfoot Michigan Rob, or whatever. But he's a friend of mine, and me and Barton recorded with him. And he's got a pretty fascinating Bigfoot story, and he's got a particular stance, on these things. It's quite interesting. And then, of course, like I said, we recorded with Daryl, and then this weekend we're recording with Ron Murphy, and I think between now and then we're recording with 2 other people. So, yes, we're going to be knocking out some pretty cool discussions about Bigfoot, about Dogman, the paranormal, everything. Let's see here. So Daryl, can I get my glasses? So Daryl says Bigfoot creatures and other. Bigfoot creatures and other creatures are in the house with Daryl Denton. Thank you, Josh. So you can go and check out his group, and. So I was gonna tell you guys I'm in a few different groups, and unfortunately I share those groups with certain people who are basically like, they don't like me. So I don't believe the way they do because I don't have a set way that I believe about these creatures. So as soon as they see me, they run to the admins and try to get them to boot me out. And I was in a group recently where the guy had made me an admin, and I asked him to take me off as an admin because I didn't want to be attacked, and I didn't want the Dogman Whisperer coming after me because I know he would see me in there and come running at me like a high school kid and wanting to stir up and whatever. And then a post was made, it doesn't matter how big you name you are or whatever, we treat everybody equally and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that sounds like it's directed at me. I didn't do anything. All I asked was to I'll stay in the group. I don't want to be involved in any of that because that person doesn't like me. So every time he sees me, he runs and tattles and says something to me or whatever. Usually he will attack or insult people or argue with the admins, and then they'll boot him, and then he blames me. But you had your chance to come to the conference and tell your information, to talk about your information about how these things are an evolutionary animal, and you had your opportunity. I wasn't going to insult you. We you wanted to go, and I was like, hey, me and Ken discussed it, and we're like, bring him, let him talk. I mean, if you want to, whatever you want, man, it's up to you, bro. Bring it,
Barton and Letitia are here.
Hi, Barton and Letitia. Did you go eat chicken fajitas today, Barton? Because he thinks chicken fajitas in Tennessee or Kentucky are good, but he's not been to Texas to try our actual real Mexican food.
It's like going to Colorado for seafood.
Yeah, you don't go to Colorado for seafood. You go to Colorado for the creepy Denver airport. Okay. Let me get started with a story. I'm gonna start off with a Bigfoot story. Should we do the Bigfoot story first, or should we talk about the airport? What do you want to do?
I mean, they kind of lead into each other, but which one do you feel more?
Doesn't matter to me. Pick one.
Let's do Bigfoot then.
So here's what happened. Okay, a guy, and I'm laughing nervously because I'm actually trying to build a house out there, and we're supposed to be started on certain aspects of it at the end of this month, okay? And so we have to go through a lot of channels because the city wants certain things and blah, blah, blah. So this individual reaches out to me, and he says that he has hunted up and down that area, and he's driven through that area, and one night, 3 or 4 years ago, he said that he was... Oh, no, I'm sorry. This was not 3 or 4 years ago. This was another one. This was in 2000... What year was it I said? 2009? It happened in 2009. And so this individual tells me that he was driving through, and it was deer season, and he had been hunting, and he was going over this creek that's in between where I'm moving and Marble Falls. And he said that all of a sudden something smashes up against his windshield, bounces off the hood and hits the windshield, and some piece of debris or something hits the side window, the passenger window. He was by himself. I believe he said he was by himself. So anyways, this individual, and I don't have my notes in front of me, but Anthony, could you grab my notebook? I want to make sure that I'm getting this story correctly, because there's 2 different ones. Actually, 3 different ones, but I want to make sure that I'm getting them all correctly, because they're so right there. There's a cluster right there together. And like I say, where there's smoke, there's fire. That's the one. Thank you. So let me take a look here. So anyways, this individual has a Bigfoot encounter, and there's 2 of them, very similar. Now, one of them was the guy. His name is Casey. It happened to, I'm sorry, Sean. It was Sean, and this one happened to him by himself. Something hits the side of his truck. He was driving a big dually, and he had just come back from bow hunting, something that I've never done. I've shot in a bow maybe once in my life. If anybody's out there and wants to teach me how to shoot one, be my guest. But I am pretty efficient with firearms. Now, he looks to his right, and there's this creature that's standing in a creek bed. Now, I know exactly where that spot is at. It's a low water crossing, and it would be 2 or 3 feet down. And this thing was taller than his truck, and it had red eyes, like red eyes. I'm not talking like he shined a light and it was like they were bloodshot because he was smoking a blunt. No, I'm talking about this thing, it wasn't kicking back some White Claws. It was just glowing red eyes. So when this thing was staring at him, as he drove by it, like it made contact with him. Like he was like, whoa. Like he made eye contact with this creature. He couldn't make out any real like discernible features because it was pretty quick, but it made its presence known by throwing huge pieces of debris, rocks, I guess, at his vehicle, destroying his windshield. Now, here's another one. Near the same place, but in between there and Burnett. It was in between Marble Falls and Burnett. This person's driving down the highway, and you can look it up on a map. I don't even know what the highway, I have it written down, but he's driving. Now this guy, his name is Casey, and he's driving down the highway, and it's not as dramatic as that, but something did get thrown at his vehicle, and he had his son with him, and they were, same thing, hunting. This happened in 2011. And something smacked the side of his windshield, and then it kind of like slid off the back or whatever, which was, the way he described it was like a mud ball with rocks in it. And so obviously, and they look and they see this creature that's about 7-8 feet tall. It is Bigfoot type creature. They saw the face. The son, his son saw the face. It looked humanoidal, like almost human-like, but really, really, really fur all the way down to its eyebrows, and then this part right here was like face was blank, like, you know, 2 Bigfoot reports in the same area, so there has to be something going on here. So my thought was that these Bigfoots are trying to scare off all the humans in that area so that they can buy up all the property really cheap and open up a hotel. That's a conclusion I came to. I could not think of another scenario. Like I was racking my brain, and I was like, why would these Bigfoot, they're such peaceful forest-dwelling creatures, they don't ever hurt anybody or chase anybody. So I called my good friend Barton Nunley, and I was like, Barton, what do you think of this? Does this ring true to you? Does this sound like, I mean, like if Bigfoot attacks 2 different people in the area, it's got to be what's going on, right?
It's the American dream. I mean, you start off with hotels, then you slowly move on to casinos, and you build into Las Vegas.
Once Texas legalizes gambling, then these Bigfoots have...
But you got to get started somewhere.
Right. They'll have the stranglehold on the casino industry. They just want you to leave them alone. They want you off of their land.
What's up, brother?
Hey, Barton, so I'm on the live stream, and this is really quick. I hope you enjoyed your fajita dinner. I'm sure that's what you had, right?
No, I would eat a chicken fajita for dinner every night if Letitia would let me. But I had to settle for KFC tonight.
Oh, no, that's not even real chicken.
It's a downgrade from a downgrade.
That's not even real chicken. You can put it on a tortilla, though. But if you put it on a tortilla, though, that's a Yankee fajita right there. That's it. That's all you got. And then you can put some cheese from the bowl of slop that they use. So I have your opinion on something. It says we know that these Bigfoots don't want to hurt anybody ever. They're actually just peaceful, kind, forest-dwelling creatures, and we should always be feeding them and giving them trinkets and whatnot. Now, I just had a case 2 years apart, two different guys, hunters, getting hit by debris within their trucks with. So what do you think the reason for that would be? Because we know that it couldn't be because they're violent.
No, it's because they love them so much that they have to throw things at them.
Yeah, I think they just wanted their attention. Yeah,
it's all out of sheer love, I'm sure.
Because I just was like racking my brain, and I was like, what could it possibly be that why would these Bigfoot want to hurt people? So my theory is that they're trying to scare people away from those areas because those areas are developing, right? So maybe they want to build a hotel there because that is technically their land, and when we go to their land, they just want us off of it, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
They're building hotels in secret.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Because they don't hurt people, ever.
Right, ever.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's crazy, ridiculous, the narrative that everybody's been spoon-fed all this time, man. It's just so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Believe it at your own peril is all I'm saying. I don't have any experience at all with nice Bigfoot. None. I'm not saying they don't exist or whatever. I'm sure people are gifting them and everything, but in the end, I believe they'll show their true natures to everyone. So,
well, another person had told me that maybe they were just trying to play catch, and if they would have stopped and gotten out with a football, they probably would have just tossed the old pigskin around. That would have been it.
Well, and if you could catch one of these 50 or 60 pound rocks that they throw and throw it back, yeah, they would love to play catch.
The 50, 60. Okay, Bart, I'm gonna let you run, man.
All right, man. Have a good evening.
Yeah, I'll see you. All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. So there you go. I mean, Barton even said that they're just trying to. If you're just when they throw these rocks at you, folks, stop running in terror. Stop being so afraid. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, what you need to do is catch it and throw it back.
Or play baseball.
Yeah,
just pick up a stick and hit it.
Yeah. Stop running away in terror. That's your main thing. I mean, that's, in fact, we can go over the list of what to do when you are attacked by Bigfoot. First of all, do not panic. That's the first thing. You don't want to panic. The second thing you want to do is drop and roll. The third thing you do is play dead. And the fourth thing you do is just be dead.
Now, the fifth one is not...
well, the fifth one is being eaten by them. I mean,
it's not applicable to everybody, but the fifth one is actually a hidden rule where if you have a firearm, take it off and throw it at them, so let them have it.
If you are carrying a firearm and the Bigfoot comes to attack... And like Master Ken would say, re-stomp the groin, okay? As soon as everything is said and done, let them re-stomp your groin. So that's the main thing you got to do and like Tony just said, you throw the gun to them and show them that you are not a threat. Throw your weapons to them. Show them I am not a threat. Roll on the ground in the fetal position and let them stomp your groin. Then that always ends it right there. I'm just saying. That's been my experience from what witnesses have told me.
Now, you're not going to need the gun.
Can't name these witnesses, but
Of course, but if you see a bunny or a cricket or something, make sure you have a gun for that. But keep that gun away from that Bigfoot. Don't let it hurt that thing.
Yes. Endangered specimen, as the Russian tank people had said. So I have a special... I have a special guest tonight, but before we get into that, I'm gonna get something here.
Welcome, Edward Hernandez. It's his first live stream.
Hello, Edward. Why does the screen look the way it does?
What's going on?
I don't know. You can ask Anthony. He did something, and now I look really blurry. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, the screen. Did you take a look at it?
What do you mean?
Okay, well, when this was...
No, that has to be unplugged into the fans too.
Oh, okay, because I was trying to say there was something, because
On there,
okay, good, because the screen looks terrible for me. I don't know, I want to look at least halfway presentable, not like a blurry photo of a Bigfoot. So...
Exactly, Joshua. Almost 300 people. Let's hit the like button.
Yeah,
Thank
let's
you,
like and
everybody.
subscribe.
Appreciate it.
Cryptid Chronicles, welcome. This is from my San Antonio peeps. Have any of y'all heard of Bear County Bigfoot? Of course. There's a ton of information about the Bigfoot. The first interview I ever did with Ken Gerhard, we talk about Bigfoot in San Antonio, around the bases.
Thank you, Artistic Bunny. She said, love the bunny shirt.
Oh, the Psycho Bunny? Thank you.
Yeah.
Got to credit my wife for forcing me to wear these.
They're nice, though. I mean,
so tonight I have a special for you guys. We've been trying to get Phil Stern to tell his story. Well, he finally gave it to us for the book, and we're going to interview him at some point. Me and Barton are going to do it on the interviews we're doing. Once I'm done with the interviews with Barton, I'm embarking on another ambitious project with Daniel Jones and Nick Redfern. Nick Redfern is going to be consulting it, and it is going to be about alien abduction. And I'm going to be interviewing a bunch of witnesses and people who have experienced this, and so yeah. But tonight, folks, I'll have a special for you. My friend from Germany will be in attendance, and he will be telling his amazing encounter with a werewolf. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. The way the Germans say it, they say it kind of like with the V. Like Darth Vader is actually Darth Vader, so the V is the W and the W is the V. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you follow me? Okay. Anyways, I just want you to know that I'm not lampooning this individual. He's my good time pal, my straight soldier, my home dog, my home skillet, my German war dog. This is my guy, my buddy. Okay? I'm not knocking this individual. All I'm saying is his story's quite strange.
thank you, Elena, for the donation. Big Cole, Steve.
So,
appreciate everybody.
If without further ado, Phil Stern, everybody. Hi, everyone. I am Phil Stern from Germany. I want to tell my story of an encounter I had with a werewolf. I know he was a werewolf and not an werewolf because he saw me and he noticed me and he waved. He said hi. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a werewolf. It was so scary. Let me tell you how this whole thing started. I was in the woods picking chocolate berries from the chocolate trees that grow everywhere wild in the Black Forest. And the werewolf came and he, like I say, he waved and I'm like, oh my gosh, a werewolf. And he's very aware of me. I'm telling you, this guy was not playing around. I mean, probably 7 to 20 feet, I don't know for sure. I cannot judge from American sizes, but probably 5,000 centimeters. Then he grabs a deer from the drink, how you say, water pool, and he starts to drink and eat from this carcass, and I'm so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here because this is a scary werewolf. Like I said, he was very aware, and so I run into the cabin. And all I have to protect myself is I am so scared. And so I tried to call Obergruppenführer Josh Turner. Help me, Josh Turner. I am in dire trouble here. Please send 2 Panzer divisions to protect me from the werewolf. Josh Turner's like, what? Who's this? What? Where are you from? Goodbye. That's what he did to me. And so I'm all alone. I'm in the closet. I am so scared. My heart would beat very fast. And then I hear... And I am so scared because I know the werewolf is on the other side of the door and he's knocking. And all I have is my axe that I did chop the firewood earlier in the day to have a big pile of firewood because I'm very organized and I'm OCD and I like to have a certain way when I put it on the side. It looks very nice. And then if you leave it outside, sometimes spiders and other things get into it. But that's not important. Anyway, the thing is this werewolf was at the door and I am so scared. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, what do you want? Of course, I know who it is, but I had to say, politely, who is it? And he says, yes, it's, I'm a Girl Scout and I'm selling cookies. Could you answer the door, please? I know this is werewolf lying, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this werewolf is lying, and it's very clever because I was almost like, I wouldn't mind having some limit, and I don't know, this is not good for me in my waistline. I said, no, I'm not in the market for cookies at this time, but maybe when I am back from my keto diet. He says, oh, but these are cookies for sale are very, very rare and they're only for a limited time. I said, no, I did fill up on chocolate earlier from the chocolate tree, so I cannot buy the cookies. Plus, I have very few Deutschmarks in my account. I didn't know what to say. Then the werewolf, becoming more pushy, he says, well, I could huff and puff and blow this whole house down. You better to open this door if you don't want damage done to the cabin. And I said, what? You're going to eat me? He says, maybe, but at least your cabin will not be damaged and then your parents can still come here and hang out on the summertime and things like that. And I'll just eat you. And I said, this doesn't sound like a good deal at all. So I am so scared. So I did this, what any man would do. I sat there and in my own fear, and I went to sleep. I woke up, the werewolf had left. My thought is he's too nice. He did not want to destroy the cabin, knowing that it did belong to my mother and father. And so everything was okay. I laid to sleep on the IKEA futon, and the werewolf left, and everything was fine. And then I ate some more of the chocolate, and I got in my Volkswagen, and I vergnügen it out of there. Anyway, Phil Stern, everyone.
Well, thank you, Phil, for being on here, giving us your time.
You're welcome. Willkommen.
I think my favorite part was your phenomenal Josh Turner impression that you did in the middle of that. I wasn't expecting that.
I had been practicing for a while.
How long have you been?
I don't know, but the show must go on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I'm back, folks. That was Phil Stern. He doesn't wear these type of glasses, so you knew it was him. Phil, it's all in good fun. You know I love you, man. I'm just messing with you, okay? Sorry I couldn't help. The night that you called, I was busy with my sock drawer, dude, and it was very important, and I couldn't help you. When you were screaming in terror, all I heard was, I thought you were like at a concert. I really did. I didn't know what was going on. I thought it was like a Dark Tranquility concert or an In Flames concert. I wasn't really sure, and I just said, dude, this is crazy, man. You know, whatever, dude. But if I would have known that there was an actual werewolf there and not an werewolf, I would have helped you by staying on the phone with you for a few minutes and giving counseling. Yeah. But in all reality, his story is actually kind of terrifying. I mean, you know, he's been, you know, over it for, you know, it happened a long time ago, but you don't forget these things. So that's that story. And another thing, too, I want to say something really quickly. I'm going to get into this little stuff about the Denver airport, then we're going to bring a guest on. I have a person who was very, very... somebody says IKEA is Swedish. Yes, that's because the actual case happened in Norway, which has nothing to do with Sweden or Germany, but he's German. I don't know. Figure it out. So anyways, this person sends me a friend request, and I'm like, okay, are you listening to PRT? And they're like, what's that? They're very snarky about it, and then they laughed. What's laughy emoji? What does that mean? I don't understand what that meant. So I was like, I'm not going to approve you if you're not a friend of, the show or whatever. So this person, she got upset, and she went and I guess she took a look at my show in the 10 minutes that she took her to respond. And she's like, your show sucks anyway. And I'm like, you are psychic. You are clairvoyant. So you should have already known that my show sucked. First of all, right? You didn't need to go and look. You could have just been like, your show sucks. I've already viewed it in my mind, or whatever, however you do it. And then I told her, I said, well, she's like, you're not going to approve my friend request anyway. And I was like, you should have already known that before you sent it, because you are clairvoyant, right? So you would have already known, hey, I'm not going to bother to send this guy a friend request because he's not going to approve it. And then she got really mad from there, and she was just like, you don't know the power I have and what I can do and this and that. I was like, look, okay, I'm sure you're a very powerful wizard, or whatever they call a female wizard. I'm sure you can go and leave a horrible Yelp review with the best of them, all right? But, so now I got this clairvoyant that may be a sorcerer or something. Evil Lynn, basically, from Masters of the Universe, is after me. So if you don't mind, folks, send me some positive energy to deflect from her possible psychic attacks. I don't need that in my life. Oh, man, the things you got to go through as a host of a paranormal show, let me tell you. So, anyways, moving on from Evil Lynn, we're going to talk about the Denver airport. Here's what's messed up. Now, really quickly, I did some research on this. Now, the scary thing about the Denver airport is there have been reports of people who have gone to the Denver airport and then have had horrible experiences afterwards. And now follow me. This is going to be kind of interesting. What the heck is going on here? So anyways, like I said, donations are not expected, but they are appreciated. And I want to thank everybody who's donated. Steve C., Big Cole, Alina Garul, and Artistic Bunny, everybody that's donated. Thank you very much. If you see any comments in the deal, let me know, Tony. Tony's in the house tonight to help me with the comments. I
think Big Cole asked about your phantom stories.
Which ones? There's a billion of them.
Yeah, that's what he just said. Asked about them in general. I don't think he has any specifics.
Phantoms in what way?
He says, so what are these phantom stories you got for us?
Oh, well, you mean the stories that we're talking about tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm about to get into that. But I got to make this text real quick. So, really quickly, folks, give me 1 second and I'll be right back. I got to freaking deal with something for work really quick. And this sucks. Hold on 1 second. All right, so let's get started here. First story I got about the Denver airport. And now, I've been hearing stories about the Denver airport for a long time. Tony's done some research on it. He's got family that lives up there. And I have...
That's where I was born.
Yeah, you were born there, not at the Denver airport.
Well, at the Denver, though.
If you're born at the Denver airport, you might be a little weird looking. Never mind.
Well, I guess.
Yeah. So anyways, I have godchildren that live up there in Denver, and I have some other godchildren that live in Boulder, some friends that live in that area. And My friend Anna Choate lives up there in Colorado. Nathan Samora, a bunch of people from the show that I've been friends with have been guests on the show. And so people report to me weird stuff that goes on there at the Denver airport. This one comes from a person named Carol. And what happened to Carol was really interesting, not to mention terrifying. They had their son. They flew into the Denver airport to pick up their son. They drove from there to Boulder, and then not to pick up their son. I'm sorry, to visit their son who was in college at the University of Colorado in Boulder. So what ended up happening was, they get to the Denver airport. She starts to get really bad headaches, and this was when they were leaving, when they were flying back out. She walked around the airport, and they had a layover. They had a delay. So she walks around the airport, and she starts staring at some of the murals and pictures there, which are, to say the least, bizarre. Okay, I'm not even going to get into what they just do some research, look into it. It's really weird stuff, but I'm interested in her encounter. So what ended up happening was she leaves the airport, and they have all these, I don't know what you want to call it, Illuminati imagery or something. On the flight home, she got really ill, and she began to vomit. And so she thought she was coming down with something. They get back home to Pennsylvania, where she's from. And and her husband is fine. He's just whatever, he had a slight headache. He reported having a headache and feeling kind of hot. Well, she felt all that, but she felt like something was there in her body, like something had happened. When she really thinks it had something to do with the airport. And it was so dramatic that she just really knew that something was going on. She ended up having a TIA is what it's called. It was a minor stroke, and she ended up in the hospital. So she was in the hospital for a week or whatever, and they said it was, they did all these tests and whatever. She felt like there was something in her ear, like something was wrong with her ear, and it started when she got to the Denver airport the first time they were there. And she thinks that on the return trip that it escalated, and that it led to her having this mild stroke. One of the things that I've wondered about is with this case was that when she got home, the first day that she was home, she saw this weird looking black swirling thing in the corner of the room that kind of floated over to the foot of the bed, and then kind of rose up to become sort of like a shadowy wraith-looking figure. Think Lord of the Rings, the ring wraiths. That's the way that it was described to me. It was like that, and I was like, "That's really twisted. That's really weird." And then she felt like she couldn't breathe, and then she started having heart palpitations, and then she went into AFib, which is something I've experienced, and then it led to the mild stroke. Fortunately, she's okay. She's recovered. But I still think that it had something to do with the airport and whatever it was that went on with her there at the airport. And I think that was a direct link to it, because she had these weird dreams for days. And when she was in the hospital, she was still dreaming, having these weird dreams. And the dreams were all apocalyptic type dreams of there was war, and there was all this famine, and it was end times type stuff. It was really dramatic. She had a dream that the human race had been almost wiped out, and that there were these sort of reptilian type creatures that had come to the surface. They were living under the ground, and this is a dream she had, right? Here's the crazy thing. Before this, she was not interested in the paranormal. She was not interested in the Denver airport. She didn't give a crap about Bigfoot or Dogman or any of this stuff. And it wasn't until, and I actually met this person in a group, and when somebody had made a post about the Denver airport, and so when I see people in these groups making comments, I said, hey, I'm the host of a show, and can you come on the show at some point, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes they'll respond, sometimes they're like, who is this quack? Who is this kooky guy? I'm not going to deal with him. And so she was nice enough to respond and said, yeah, I'll give you my story, whatever. She works at a place where it's not really in her best interest to give her last name. So I said, okay, that's fine. We'll keep it out, whatever. But her husband told me that she was having these dreams where he could not wake her up. Like, it was like he would push her and her eyes would like roll back in her head, and it was almost like she was dying or something, and her heart, they checked her pulse, it was really low, like in the 30s, and then it would shoot back up, and she went into like AFib, whatever. So this went on, and then until she had the stroke, and then afterwards she's still having these weird dreams, and now she refuses to fly into the Denver airport, which I don't blame her. And Tony, you did a little research on it. Now, there is a horse there. What is it that you looked up?
Well, there's a horse called the Blucifer.
Blucifer.
Yeah, and its artist, the Luis Jimenez, he, while was making a part of it, it broke, and it actually cut his artery in his leg, and he bled out and died. And they actually, the two red lights in there are LEDs, and Holly had pointed this out earlier in the chat, but she got it wrong. She thought it had crushed him, but it just cut his leg.
Cut his leg, severing his artery and killing him.
Yeah.
Then again, it may have crushed him, and now CERN has changed it to where it severed his artery.
Crystal Jackson says, I've been to the Denver airport back in 2011. I didn't recognize anything. I was in there for hours. The airport is huge. I've had migraines and was swollen from the altitude, which is another thing we don't think about, is the altitude too. It already makes you feel a little different. So but
Denver, I mean, for me, when I was up in Denver, I didn't feel crap. I didn't fly up there. I drove down from Oregon down into there, but I didn't feel anything.
Well, I mean, I was also used to it.
Once I left the altitude of Denver, though, and I started when I made my way up into Leadville and way up into what's the other one called? The higher up ones. What's it called with a V? Starts with a V. I forgot the name of it. But anyway, once I started getting up into that altitude, dude, it was I started having problems. I started feeling really bad. I mean, it was like I felt like I was going to die.
And Shackety Craig was wondering about your Instagram.
Josh Turner 940. Diane Rain, I think you're right, says I have to pay movers, so I'm being thrifty with the super chat. That's not a problem. Sorry, love you guys. Sounds like the lady was attacked psychically by a demon. Yeah, I would agree. That's probably what was going on. Here's the second story about the Denver airport that I can give you. This one, very similar. These people had a daughter that was living in Fort Collins, was going to Colorado State, and it was right after the Christmas holidays, the winter break, as they call it. They don't call it Christmas because that's offensive to, I don't know, people who hate Christmas. Anyways, these people, they flew in to the Denver airport. Like I said, nothing unusual. This was like the third time they had done it. They always said that they felt weird. It would have been the child's stepdad and then the child's mother. Now, this person, I'll call her D. D, she went to Fort Collins, and they spent the time with their daughter and did whatever they did, dropped her off, and spent a couple days going around the city, and then going to Denver and taking in a little bit of the local whatever, and they had not done that before. And it was funny because this person's husband, which would have been the daughter's stepdad, is a comic book guy. And there is a place called Mile High Comics there, which I have been, and I thought it was cool because it's I think it is the largest comic book store in the world. I'm not 100%. But I was there a few years ago, so we kind of talked about comics and things like that. And but this person the mom started having problems. Well, on the return flight, same thing. Had a bad headache, felt sick, nauseous, vomited. Got home to Florida, where they were from, and started having nightmares. And in these nightmares, her daughter was in this. Get this: her daughter was in a cemetery. And she was running from this like ball of fire. And this ball of fire was going around, and everywhere that they, everywhere the fire would go, it would light everything on fire. Like the trees would catch it on fire, the grass would catch it on fire, everything was just burning up. And it was this dream, right? Well, it culminated in this another encounter with this phantom type creature, but it didn't look like the phantom type creature that the other couple had seen. This one, I'll give you a description. It was like she woke up one night, she felt something was grabbing her ankles and was pulling her, but her body wasn't moving. She was dreaming that she was being pulled off the bed and down into the ground. But like I said, her body wasn't moving. She woke up, but she was paralyzed. It was like a sleep paralysis type thing. But she opened her eyes, and she couldn't move anything but her eyes. And she sees this thing, and it looks just like half of a body, upper body, like a torso, like a humanoid. And inhumanoid is my friend Barton would call it. The lower part of the body was nothing. It was just like a swirling black cloud. And the upper body was like fur. You could see a face with a little small pronounced muzzle and these fangs, teeth that looked canid. It didn't look Dogman like though. The ears were normal human type ears, but this thing had antlers. And it had these weird, hairy, furry arms, a real thick fur all over it. When she started giving me the rundown of the description of this creature, I was like going over my head, like, what could this be? What could this be? So I wrote down the description, and I just started like looking for what this thing could be, you know. And it almost sounded like a Wendigo. You know, now, of course, Colorado is up in the mountains, and it's cold, and, you know, you got the Wendigo. Maybe that's what it was. But I kind of settled on Krampus. And I know that sounds weird, but that's the creature that I got. And it's not me just, you know, thinking, oh, I'm just going to call it that. I just call it Krampus. That's easier, you know. No. I did some research, and I thought, and so when I messaged this person and I said, have you looked up this entity known as Krampus? And this was a few months ago when I got this story. But the other Denver airport story was recent. That's why I was like, I went back and I said, hey, I do have a story here in the emails. And I said, hey, look up this creature. And that when she began to look into, and she found it in a folk festival in Europe, like in the Netherlands or something, and it was, or I think it was actually in Luxembourg, which might be Germany, like it's in that region, whatever. But anyway, it was a folk festival, and she found a creature that fit that description very closely. And I thought, what the heck is that? Why would this start to happen after the Denver airport? Now, here's the connection. Just in case you think there is no connection to the Denver airport, I'm going to tell you what it is. Her daughter, who was going to school at Fort Collins, okay, they went to a cemetery, and they had one of those, what do you call that thing where it does the radio communication? I can't remember what it's called, dude. It's like a spirit box. Right? They used a spirit box, and they went to this cemetery, which is basically like it's haunted. Okay. And they supposedly, and they said, you know, and they're college kids, they wanted something to do. And so this one woman, or girl, I would say woman, she's a kid to me, it's like 22-year-old kid, whatever. She says, hey, why don't we go to this cemetery? There's some weird stuff that goes on there. Let's go check it out. They go to this cemetery, and they're communicating with some sort of spirit. This thing was giving them information, like, and they're like, well, did you die here? And it says, no, you know, it's doing that. And then they started asking the questions. They said, are you a human? This thing said, no. And it said, how old are you? And it said, ancient. They said, where are you from? And it says, here. And they said, where is here? It says, underground. All right? Okay. Then there's like 5 people. 2 of the people, a male and a female, see this, what looks like this, some sort of entity, which they thought was riding a horse at first. On the other side of the cemetery by the there's like a wood line or whatever. This thing had antlers. Whatever it was, they thought it was riding up on a horse, but it may have been just the upper body, and then the bottom part might have looked like a horse. They all get scared, they freak out, and they start running back to their vehicle. As they're driving away, their daughter sees this orangey ball of light bouncing around amongst the headstones. And she's the only one that sees that. So you tell me, what is that? I'm leaving it up to you to decide, but you tell me what that is, because that is weird, wild stuff. And I wouldn't want to be, out there in the middle of winter in a haunted cemetery, haunted or not, either way. Somebody said Wendigo. Yeah, I don't know. And then this weird Krampus-looking thing appears in Florida. I believe they lived near outside of Jacksonville or something. But, it's just... It drives you nuts because you're trying to put the pieces together and you're trying to think, what is the connection, and is there a connection to the Denver airport? I don't know. But, yeah, that's pretty crazy stuff. And then I got another quick one for you.
Well, Letitia asked, are you guys flying to Colorado?
Are we flying to Colorado?
Yeah.
Why would we fly to Colorado?
I don't know. She asked that a while back.
Letitia asked that? Mm-hmm. No, we're going to fly y'all to the Denver airport, Letitia, you and Barton. We're going to, because you know how the flights are, they're way out of the way. So we're using Total Cheap Airlines, which is TCA for short. Edward Hernandez says, anybody know the San Antonio Bigfoot episode? Want to check it out tomorrow during work. Edward, I don't know. If I'm friends with you on Facebook, message me. Where are you from, Edward? Because I know an Edward Hernandez. He was in the Marine Corps. He was from my hometown. But anyway, if you message me, I could give you the coordinates to that or whatever. Or Tony, you could look it up for him. It was the first one I did with Ken Gerhardt.
All right, I'll look it up.
And Ken's got a ton of information about Bigfoot. The Essential Guide to Bigfoot's his book. But and then of course we also, Lyle Blackburn's book released, I believe today or yesterday. It came out, now it's available you can buy it now. It says he grew up near Smithville Bastrop. Oh, okay. That area is kind of creepy too. There's a lot of Bigfoot reports in that area of Smithville Bastrop, and then going across to Giddings and all that. That whole area is a Bigfoot stronghold. One of the things I was going to say, making sure I got this right. That could be. XN just made a comment there. Oh, Letitia's just joking. You're messing with Barton? Well, my godson is actually driving down as we speak from there. He's coming down from Colorado.
Is it 79?
Okay, Craig just sent the link. I'm going to give it to Anthony.
No, that's a live stream.
Let me give it to you, Anthony. Okay, I'm just going to do it real quick here. And Anthony, if you can hear me, post that in the chat. Then it'll be the link. Oh, God, I didn't do it. Sorry. Thought I copied it. This will be the link to anybody who wants to purchase tickets to the Jefferson Bigfoot Conference that I'm sponsoring Paranormal Round Table is a proud sponsor of the Texas Bigfoot Conference. It's held every year in Jefferson, Texas. There's a couple haunted hotels there. It's pretty cool. There's a Bigfoot conference. Barton Nunley and I will be there, along with our friend Michigan Rob, who we interviewed recently, who has a pretty cool story we're going to be releasing in October. It'll be out by the time we go to the conference. And what else? Ken Gerhardt will be there. Lyle Blackburn's book, Texas Bigfoot in Texas, is out. You can go purchase it. In honor of that, what I'm going to do for the show tonight, I'm going to be getting some copies of that book, and when they arrive, whoever gets picked will be able to get a book. So you go and you go to the Paranormal Roundtable Facebook group, take go to the official link of the show, and leave a comment on there, and you may be picked to win a book. Lyle Blackburn, Texas Bigfoot. So that's Squatch. Thank you for that donation. Did you have any reports of strange things, reports of the Grassman or Dogman out of Ohio? Yes. We just actually, a woman that we met at the gym, me and Tony, told us a story out of Ohio about the Hat Man. She didn't even know that that's what it was called, but she told us about it. And yes, we do get Bigfoot and Dogman reports out of Ohio. It's rampant there in Ohio, especially Dogman. And there's like Defiance. You know, I mean, Ohio, Pennsylvania, that whole area is just full of stuff. And the Amish people, they're always out there cursing everybody. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, they really do. People think that's a joke. They laugh when I say that, but it's true. I mean, you know, they have a book about it, and their magic is called powwow. You know, it's like they take away all these modern amenities, and then they replace it with magic, because there's nothing else to do. So let's just, you know, whatever. You know, you got to have something to do. You don't have TV, so let's play with black magic. I don't know.
What about Giddings and the maybe like a LaGrange area, Eddie?
Oh, LaGrange.
Yeah, LaGrange.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting, because on the episode I did with Daryl Denton, where we recorded with Daryl, me and Barton, or actually the proper terminology is Barton and I, recorded with him, and we actually touch on it a little bit, I believe, in the Giddings, or it might have been with Chad Lewis. I don't know. Barton, maybe you could tell me if you remember those interviews we just did. We talk about the reports that we get out of Giddings of these Bigfoot creatures being extremely violent too. I don't know if it's just a Texas thing. I've heard the ones in Alaska are extremely violent. I mean, think of Port Locke, you know, and them chasing the people off. But here in Texas, there tends to be some pretty violent encounters, like some aggressiveness in these Bigfoot. They seem to be kind of cantankerous. I've heard in Louisiana it's kind of that way too. You know, think of the Honey Island swamp monster hunters, and, you know, going missing and stuff like that. The Cutler says stories of construction, persons falling into caves under the Denver airport, having to fight their way out, stories about military personnel going to check it out and fighting with insectoids. Yeah, insectoids, and then, of course, reptilians, too. These reptilian type creatures, which is another thing I was going to talk about. I'm going to do some stuff on this. If you guys have a good memory as my listeners, remind me next time. I had a reptilian vampire story. I don't know. I mean, and so I started going down the rabbit hole last night with my wife and with Scorpion, and we were talking about vampires and going over vampire stories and the lore, the folklore. And Scorpion, I would say, is a quasi-expert on that. Like, there's no experts, they say, but when it comes to the research, yeah. He knows a lot about vampires, and he knows a lot about numbers, like numerology. Those are his two strong suits. So when my wife was asking me questions last night, because we were watching a show called Day Shift with one of the Franco brothers. I don't remember which. I don't know their names. Not James. I think it's the other one. It's him and Jamie Foxx. It's a really good movie. It's a good flick. Check it out. It's like on Netflix.
Dave.
Is it David Franco?
Dave, I think it's
Dave
just Dave.
Franco. Anyway, he's on there. He's the one that talks like this. He's like, Anyway, him and Jamie Foxx are on this really good movie. It was. I thought it was great, but it was a vampire movie, and so when my wife started asking me questions, I'm going like, I know some, but I consulted him. And, Scorpion came in and gave us the whole rundown of all these different types of vampires and what they do and where they're from and blah, blah, blah. He knows the whole lore going back to different regions. I mean, like, it's really deep. But I think that there are reptilians that are vampires, and maybe there's an entire race that are vampiric. Or they could just be like, there's some that are like humans, become vampires. And before you think that, this is crazy, because people don't talk about it as much as they do Dogman, doesn't mean it doesn't exist. And that these things don't exist, because they would love for you to believe that they don't exist. Now, and it's not like the movies where they're going around shooting them with wooden stakes, and it's not. But they do have these vampire like covens and cults and stuff, and there are some that aren't just cosplaying. They're not just joking around and being like, cutesy, whatever the heck, they actually are practicing what they preach.
Well, here's an interesting thought. Insects, they often will suck. They'll, the fluid. Spiders, and they're often two bites like vampires are. And there are a lot of animals that would use something to poke and suck the fluids out of a person or, whatever prey they're currently going after.
Well, and here's another lore or legend. I did an interview with a guy a few months ago. I don't know if I'm going to, because it didn't finish. I didn't get to finish talking to this person. But he claims to come from a lineage or a family that are vampiric, and they do have reptilian type qualities. One of the things he said was his great uncle. I know this sounds kind of weird, but he was a practicing sorcerer, warlock who could shapeshift, and he could change into a werewolf type creature. He said it looked werewolf-like. He saw it when he was a kid, when he was like 12. And what he was telling us was that this uncle or whatever, when he died, became a vampire. Like literally, like that's, and so we went into some studying of this, and Scorpion said, yeah, that's actually a real thing. There is a type of vampire from Eastern Europe that is, when it dies, it is a werewolf in life. And when it dies, it becomes a vampire. And there is an actual name for it. It starts with a T. I don't remember the name of it or whatever. But this particular type of vampire, and I don't want to get into the whole, start talking about that, but what the different kinds or whatever. But what it does is it becomes a vampire through sorcery. So it works with these satanic beings like Shaitan, whatever, and they get this power. And then they live their life drinking blood. Not in the way, they're not going around biting people's necks. They're taking blood from people, and they're using it ritualistically in these sorcerer type, whatever. Salahuddin, thank you for that donation. So what they're doing is basically being vampires, and it helps sustain their life force. They can live to be they can live to be very old, and our, compared to our short lives, like 100 years, 120. And then when this person passed away, he became a vampire. And so he was coming back to the family, and what he was doing was taking their energy, and he would bite them, and they would wake up with bites on their feet. I'm not joking. I mean, this is true. Now, I had another friend who's a kickboxer. He's a good friend of mine, and he lives in Hong Kong. He used to train in Thailand, where a lot of my friends, shout out to my friends Chris and Nick and all them that they fight over there in Thailand. But this guy used to be in Thailand, and he went back to Hong Kong after training over there for 3 or 4 years. And there is a type of vampire that's known as the hopping ghost, but it can be like a vampire. And Tony, I know you know about this. It actually will bite your feet, and it doesn't walk or move the way we do it. It kind of like does this. It like, and it appears as like a shadow, and then it takes a sort of a form of this creepy looking demonic entity, and it will literally drain blood from your feet. It is really weird. I mean, he was telling me about this. So anyways, we're going down the rabbit hole and all that. But let me get my guest on, because we need to get going with him. Let me call this guy up, and we'll...
There's a lot of interest in the airport, though, the Denver airport. A lot of stuff is being talked about it, like the statue of Anubis, or the art that's around there. I don't really remember any of it, but do you remember any of the art?
The art, oh man. From what I've seen of it when I was doing my research was like there's like these weird paintings, and they're like some people say that it was like showing us about the pandemic, like people wearing masks. And like I said, people can keep in mind too. People can also take images and fake them or whatever. Yeah. So I mean, what I was looking at was quickly just kind of going over some of the pictures. I don't have a lot of time to just sit there and do a ton of research on a deep dive with that right now, because I'm bogged down on 3 different fronts, dealing with different types of projects and stuff. But yeah, one of the things I did notice was a theme was like these weird, like New World Order type themes is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, I had someone else say like when they accidentally got lost, they found an underground area with like the bathrooms were like too big or whatever. Like everything was obviously too large for like a normal person. So that's pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories of people getting lost, and workers, people who've worked there, like where there's an area where there was an underground baggage. I mean, where the baggage claim area, it's abandoned or something. But I've heard weird things about Carlsbad Caverns, even like people who've worked there, there's areas where they're not supposed to go, and they hear all this drilling and construction and stuff, and it's And I've actually been at Carlsbad Caverns one time, and I wandered off into this dark area, like where there used to be like a snack bar. And you just keep going, and then it's like there's like this black tarp that kind of closes it off, and then there's like a sign that says "Don't go any further." And I'm always like, I wonder what that, if you went past that, what that would be.
Well, yeah, I mean, when I went to the Natural Bridge Cavern, it's like every time you look in that, you're just like, what is past that? Like, what's in there?
So I'm having a hard time getting a hold of my guest. Okay, well, I don't know what to do. I'm sort of trying to get a hold of my guests, and
You're right. Squirp knows everything about vampires. I don't know how to pronounce that.
What is it?
It's the name of the vampire you're talking about.
I can't pronounce that.
Timothy vampire.
Whatever.
Just put it in the chat, Squirp.
Okay, well, I can't. I'm not having any luck getting a hold of my guests. So, yeah, I just messaged them. If they don't respond, then there's nothing I can do. The show goes on. So I'll take these off, and if this person decides to respond, then they can respond. And Tony, you can take over the business of giving me the chat. Okay. So if you guys want to do any questions, Q&A, and we can take this show in any direction you want, because I don't need guests. If a person doesn't want to be on the show, they don't have to be. And no offense, this person may be busy. It just keeps saying he's in another call, but maybe he's busy. But then the show has to go on.
I mean, this is live.
I will. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me go make sure I got the right number. I'll be right back.
Maybe.
Okay. Somebody says reptilians are good, but you don't hear a lot about them. I do. I don't know why you don't. I don't know. I get a lot of weird stuff about these creatures, probably because we talk about it. When you talk about certain subjects, more people are gonna, they're gonna hit you up with stories. Somebody said, "R.I.P. the Queen." I don't know.
I'm gonna wait about.
Beats Titan said, "Josh, you handsome mountain of a man." Thank you for the weird compliment. What are your thoughts on Joe Barger's Dogman story? In capital letters. So what are my thoughts on the Dogman on his Dogman story? I think he's being honest. He spent the weekend with Barton, and Barton I think was a pretty good judge of character, and I'm pretty sure that I think it's honest. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I can't say. It's just like with Roger, everybody, I kind of flip-flop back and forth with Roger because, we argued and whatever went on, because of his situation with an individual, because him and Jody didn't get along. But him and Jody have buried the hatchet. I buried the hatchet with him, and I talk to Roger regularly. He's stuck by his story. I mean, and Joe Barger's the same way. Martin Groves is the same way. I'm the same way. We've all had Dogman encounters, and I don't know. Is it real? I mean, are these stories to be believed? I mean, it's impossible to vet. You can't say. I mean, even like Abe Seas, I know me and him had a little thing after the conference, whatever, but that was, primarily because of DFT. If you don't know who he is, don't worry about it. He's not important. He's a tick on a dog's ass. But I can tell you right now with Abe, I believe that even though he's, drawing red circles and having problems with people and stuff because they fight with him about it, I don't doubt that he had some sort of spiritual Dogman encounter. I really believe he probably did. I mean, over there where he was at, that area is notoriously haunted. That's why when he was saying that I had gone there, I was like, I would never go there. I would never go to that place ever at all. Done. Just wouldn't do it. But yeah, I mean, I believe that these people are having experiences. Somebody said I was beginning to think the Queen was immortal. That isn't that. I mean, when she passed, somebody had made a comment. One of my friends, I know several Anns, but this isn't her real name. She just goes by Ann on Facebook. But she had said she died again. She was like, she's already died twice. And I was like, what? Twice? That was 3 times.
I mean, that's what Scorp said, 3 times.
Yeah, I was like, dude, how many times? Because I remember specifically getting into it with this guy at La Posada, one of my favorite restaurants down in South Austin, because I thought he was staring at me. And it was right after they had announced that the Queen had died. And then I asked him that they could change the channel, and he changed the channel to something, it was like a football game or something. And I remember her dying. So does my brother. So does my friend Pete, who happens to live in Colorado. See all these weird synchronicities. But anyway,
I saw a comment that made me remember the show we did on around St. Patrick's about the little people, and there was one where if you traded things, it would give you gold nuggets.
The one in Wyoming.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was such a good story.
South of Yellowstone.
Here, let me find the comment so I can say which one exactly brought it up again. But it made me remember that because I was on that show.
Hellbent Holler says, I believe Joe Barger. Yeah, I do too. Hellbent Holler is a show too, by the way. I was there last night watching. I couldn't stay for very long, but I got to watch about half an hour of it. They do a really good show. Jesse and Joe, shout out to them.
Corley Cantor, he brought it up, but yeah, it's one of my favorite episodes too. It's definitely unique.
There are, and we're about to record with Kumbo, which is, a friend of mine and Barton's, and I think Barton talked to him on the phone the other day, and he's got some really cool stuff about little people. I would say one of the most knowledgeable people about LBL, in my opinion, is a guy named Mark. I'm not going to give his last name because he doesn't want to be in the spotlight, but he was at my conference, and if you ever get a chance to talk to him, he's an amazing person to talk to about the LBL. The book is moving right along. We're doing the interviews. Ken interviewed Phil about his encounter with the werewolf. And the war goes on with certain individuals. I am done going and saying anything about VC. I don't care. I don't want to talk about this guy anymore. We're done. But Dogman Whisperer still hates me. Dogman Whisperer, I am extending my hand to you. Okay, and I'm giving you a formal invitation to come on my show and spew your stuff. Okay, we can talk like men, and we can have a friendly debate. You claim to have all this evidence, right? Bring it to my show. I want to hear it. You told Ken, last summer that you had all this evidence, but from what we saw, it looked like badger tracks. I'm not trying to be ugly or rude. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm being ugly and rude. But you just bring your evidence. Let's see it. Okay. Name the system. What does he say? What does Tarkin say to Princess? What's her name? Princess Privilege, Leia, whatever. He tells her, he's like, if you have another name the system. Then do that. Tell me where it's at. Give me what you have. I'm tired of hearing about all this evidence and all this remarkableness you have. Let's do it. That I looking at the Dogman, and he was there, and I knew when he ran across the roads that he had evolved right there before me eyes. It was the Dogman. He ran across the road and he evolved. He came up out of the water, he looked like a turtle, and then he ran across the road. So I went to the library in my hometown and I gave the lecture. And then the kids asked me questions, and I'm like, remember, kids, you know enough. And I walked off. I was like, wow, it's very enlightening. It's awesome. Now, people say, he doesn't really talk like that. Prove it. I've only seen him on a couple different interviews or heard him. He can come on my show, and he totally shut me down. Just completely lay the smack down on me. Put me in my place, kick me in a corner, smack me and call me Sally. Whatever. I mean, if you got the goods, then bring the smack. That's all I'm saying. Or STFU. That's it. Let me tell you something, brother. You bring the heat, and I'm going to bring what I got to tell you, which is a lot of stuff I'm going to tell you. WWE, whatever their initials are now, SmackDown. We'll smack each other down. Get all oiled up, and just slap each other around and go to the ring and just do somersaults and flips and jump around and just elbow the people's elbow. All that stuff. The claw. We'll go all out. Whatever. If you got all this mountain of evidence, your mountain of evidence amounts to a hill of beans. Just gonna stand there and watch me burn, but that's all right.
You never witnessed a demonic possession or anything?
Have I witnessed a demonic possession?
Yeah,
I had a couple exes that I could tell you about. Exes, exorcisms, it's a similarity. Why?
Well, someone just asked a question about it. I was just curious because you've had so much, that you've been a part of. So many supernatural things have happened to you over the years.
I have not witnessed an exorcism, but I've been around people who I could almost swear that they were demonically possessed. Plus, dealing with bad people that I don't know.
Yeah.
Anthony, we need to plug this thing back in because it's running low. if you can get it there. Paul says, give him a stunner. Yeah, I'm not really sure like where the whole thing went off the rails with that guy. Like, I mean, there've been so many different encounters I've had with Dogman Whisperer, and we have just been at it so many times that it is like I don't even know how to go about being cordial with this guy. But I'm willing to give it a shot. If he's willing to let bygones be bygones and forgive me for lampooning whatever, but he said a lot of mean, really nasty, horrible things to my wife, which is kind of when you do that, you kind of cross a line, and it's like and then he has gone after friends of mine and said some really mean, nasty things. He jumps people in groups and stuff, and he likes to gang stalk with his buddies. The Australian there, I call him Mick Taylor. Oh, Dallas, he likes to come in with his 2 cents and give people the beep, whoop, whatever. But I forgive them. They know not what they do. They're just silly. And they're determined that this is a species, the Dogman in particular, is a species that is some evolutionary creature. How does that even happen? I mean, like, we started off the conference with Ken Gerhardt getting on there on stage and saying, first of all, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe this is a physical flesh and blood, a completely physical flesh and blood evolutionary creature, and I'll tell you why. And then he went on to talk about why. That was the beginning of the conference. That was kind of just how it kicked off. His actual presentation was about Thunderbirds. It wasn't even about the Dogman. Him and Lyle did different cryptids because we wanted different cryptids. Now, we're talking about the next conference. If you're interested in going to the next conference, give me something. Tell me, hey, yeah, I'm ready. I want to go.
Well, someone actually just asked about where it was going to be.
Roswell, New Mexico.
That's what they asked.
I just threw it out there. I don't even know why. The Clairvoyant lady said, I knew you were going to say Roswell. I was like, because I just told you that. And then I said, I wanted a bigger venue. She's like, I knew you were going to say you wanted a bigger venue. I was like, because I just told you that. And then I said, I wanted it to be somewhere that there was a place of power. She's like, Roswell is a place of power. I'm like, wow, really? You're like one of those after the fact clairvoyants.
Hindsight clairvoyant.
Yeah, she's like really good with the hindsight. Like, she's 100% accurate with the hindsight. I can't tell you how accurate she was. It was uncanny. I was like, you know what's even cooler? Riadoso. She's like, I was gonna say Riadoso, and I was like, okay. Well, anyway, the mountain gods, you can go gamble. It's like 60 miles. He's like, I was gonna say that. 60 miles away, you can go gamble and have fun. I was like, also, there's a UFO museum. He's like, there's a museum there, a UFO museum. I was like, wow, you really are a hindsight clairvoyant. It is amazing. Your powers are astounding. It's actually a good comic, by the way, Astounding Wolfman. Go check it out. It's got a vampire in it. It's pretty cool. But anyway, I was blown away by her accuracy.
What up, bro?
There you are, Mark. I was wondering what was going on. I was like, geez. I thought I made you mad or something. You were like, man, I thought you'd bailed on me.
No, bro. I was on the phone with B.
Yeah, I figured that. I was going to text B and tell her, hey, let that man go. He's got things to do.
Yeah, I'm at work, bro. So we was on the phone. I didn't even hear the phone beeping, man.
Yeah, okay. So, Mark, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 44 years old, bro. Recently divorced, and I drive truck, bro. I had an experience with something in 2016 or 2017, right around the time Hurricane Matthew was tearing Florida up, bro. I just know the house we were staying in, man, it was all electric. And my son was doing 5 years in juvie. So I had made his room into like my little boom boom room, man, where I kind of played my video game and smoked and drank and, whatever. And next thing you know, man, it just started raining. I mean, like, my power went out in my house. It just started getting real dark. And it just started raining real bad, man. And so I'm standing on my porch. and across the street from, I mean, like right in front of my yard, man, it just woods, bro, like just all woods. So I'm standing on the porch smoking a cigarette, trying not to get wet, and I caught this light, man, in the wood, and it was bright red. Then it turned to like a soft orange and to a really bright white, bro. So I'm sitting there watching the light, trying to, you know, not to get wet and stuff, man. So my cigarette wouldn't go out and stuff. So anyway, it was thundering and lightning real bad, so that's why I stood on the porch anyway. When I opened the door, man, a flash of light hit me in my face, man. And when I came to, bro, I was seeing black spots like off in the pass out. And so anyway, man, when I started seeing the light, I lost it in the wood for a second. And when I caught it again, bro, like a crab had broke the doggone top of the tree, bro. Like it was a door, almost like an aluminum type. I don't know, man. It was a real door, silver, bro, but it had green murky solar panels on the top and bottom bit, bro. I'm telling you, man, like the tree was leaning. It was raining real hard, bro. And I'm telling you, this thing was gliding, Josh, man. You didn't see any heat waves coming off of it. You didn't see any exhaust type stuff. You didn't hear a sound, a zing, a buzz, or nothing, bro. And I'm talking about it was so big, Josh, like I could have jumped off the porch, man, and touched that thing, bro. And and it was solar panel. Well, anyway, the next morning, because it was like a big stack of blocks or beat up concrete that was in front of the house to keep people from going back there in their car. So the next morning, bro, some truck rolled back through there, man, and it was like 3 truck, looked like army truck that had been converted into pulpwood truck. Mm-hmm. Bro, I'm telling you, man, it was about 15 guys back there, bro. You couldn't have got 10 ounces of body fat off all of them. So anyway, the power would come back on. I called my wife at the time, and I told her about it. Because, you know, I really didn't believe in that crowd, bro. Like, you know, I used to get on people paid, man, and leave all kind of stupid comment. But I was a big Scott Carpenter fan, though. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, bro, you know, all that done went by. So my wife at the time, birthday was coming up, and she wanted a camera for her birthday. So I didn't have my money, bro. I wasn't working. And I thought I had once and shit on me and stuff. So, you know, when I was going to my little spots, it was right there in the same little area. I mean, so the wood kind of all connect all the way around from that park to the front of my house, all the way to my in-law house. So those wood kind of connect, bro. So I'm telling you, man, about a month later, I ended up giving my wife at the time, man, a camera. It was a Bell & Howard camera, bro. It took 4 AA battery to cut it, to power it and run it. But it came with a whole bunch of accessories, man. I ain't paid like $35 for it, man, because, you know, really, I ain't know nothing about the megapixel thing at the time. So anyway, bro, I'm just recording, just bull jiving around with the camera with my kids and stuff. And start going back there in the wood back there. And I noticed my dog, Rollo, man, was just welling away in the video, almost like he was trying to tell me something, bro. So anyway, I got my kid back there and everything. They babies at the time, like they little. And next thing you know, man, I throw one of the videos up in the other. And even though the footage was kind of grainy, man, I started seeing faces, bro. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm sitting there seeing them faces. So anyway, man, I started asking my family, I said, y'all see these? I can't even tell if you know. I said, so anyway, I said, y'all see these faces? And then they were like, yeah, I see it look like a fade. So anyway, I didn't have no cell phone at the time, so somebody gave me a cell phone, bro. It was bad. Like the Amber Alert would come on, I couldn't stop it while I was recording, so I had to start overlaying music on top of it. So anyway, man, I started getting a clear picture, man, and I started seeing them. And one day, bro, I'm just but then when I had the grainy camera, one day, man, I'm leaving out the house, I'm going around my in-law house, I pulls up in the yard, bro, and it was just sitting back there by that 48-foot trailer that's in that backyard. So if you ever go to like my YouTube channel, Shoutout Boy, and you see me doing video, and you see that trailer back there, man, it's like a 4-foot drop-off behind that trailer. And I'm telling you, it was just standing back there, bro, looking dead at me. I'm talking about big, brown, corn top thing just looking at me, bro, with the biggest, softest brown eyes I ever seen, Jack. Like, for real, bro. And I'm talking about, next thing you know, they was solid black, man. I'm reaching in my passenger seat, my right hand. I grabbed the Bell and Howard camera, bro, with the little black case that it was in. I'm unzipping the case. I'm looking at this thing, bro. I'm looking at it, Jack. Just long enough to cut my camera on, bro. I blinked my eye, dog. That thing was gone. It was gone. I didn't hear no branches, no nothing break, nothing, bro. So I know it's something with the cloaking game with him. And my dog Rollo, man, was showing me all kind of signs, man. Like, I go back there to feed him, and bro, he'll just come to the dog house, and the head be out the dog house, but he looking over in the wood, man, and all that on the back and neck standing up, bro. And I'm telling you, I started noticing just the element, man, like the shadow, man. I just started noticing the shadow, bro. Like, it was just big black spots, man, and in place of where the sun should be shining. And I mean, it just stood out to me. And I started just recording, bro. And that's how I found out about the cloaking game, man. And really, you know, when I started doing it, man, then nobody in the community believed about the cloak or none of that, man. You feel me? So, you know, to see a lot of these folks still trying to bring it to light, they really paying homage to my work, and I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, bro, like, I don't believe these things on the ground, man. Like, I don't believe these things in no caves or on no ground, because they too plush. Josh, I seen one so red, bro, so clean, so plush. They was putting off a purple hue, bro. Like, the sun was hitting him, and it looked like it was a purple aura around this thing, bro.
So the ones that you're seeing, they appear to be very ethereal, like spiritual.
These things are clean, bro. A big white one I seen, man. I'm talking about, bro, these things are clean, bro. These ain't no mangy looking animal, bro. I mean, they look like people, just giant, bro, and 8-9 feet. Bro, them babies. Josh, them small, bro. People don't have no clue on how big these fucking things get. Excuse my friend, bro.
Yeah, that's the language.
Yeah, man, excuse my friend, bro, but I'm talking about for real, man, and we in trouble, man. I'm talking about for real. And then, you know, and I hear people talking about, like, fake UFO invasions and all that. Yeah, the craft may be fake or whatever. I don't know, but them being gonna be for real, bro. And I'm telling you, man, people don't have a clue on how big these things really get, bro. Like, for real. I'm talking about serious, bro.
So the ones that you're seeing, like, and I hear this a lot, actually, because I'm writing a book, and one of the things, I'm dividing it into different sections of encounters, and there's like ethereal, just really ethereal, and then there's sort of an in-between, and then there's these physical ones. Now, let me ask you a question, Mark. In your opinion, is it possible that these things enter our world from another, like, let's call it the fourth density, is what I call it, and then they start off kind of ethereal, and then maybe the longer that they're here, they adapt a more physical presence? Is that possible?
Hey, bro, me and my girl B-Mob, man, we be talking about that same thing, bro. Like, we still be trying to come up to a conclusion, bro. And we were talking about it just today, like, bro, these things are too plush. They too clean. They too well kept, too groomed, bro, for these things to be under some cave somewhere or under some dirt somewhere, unless that center of the earth thing or that underground thing must be true or something. I don't know, bro. But these things are too plush and too clean. And I'm telling you, the one I seen, John, man, I locked eye with it, bro. That black film that come down over their eyes, man, that crap means something, bro. I've been zapped and I've been growled. And me and my ex-wife been whooped that one morning, man. And I asked her about it about 5 months ago. What you think that animal was, man? And she was just like, I don't know what it was. But it didn't sound like it was a threat. It was sounding like more like a move, bro. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, even that zap, bro, like, you can feel it, man. They hit me in the top of the head, bro. I felt it roll all the way through my body. And I felt it when they hit the Bell and Howard camera, bro. I had to pop the batteries out just to get the camera to reset, Josh. Like, I'm talking about, bro, I got pictures with these things all on the car porch, man. They living with us, bro. we can't see them, bro, but they would have, bro. Like, I'm talking about, man, these things ain't deep in the wood, man. Like, on none of my video, bro, I ain't in no wood, bro. I'm at parks, man. I'm in the hood. I don't call them just laying in them fence lines. Just go look at some of them pictures, bro. Like, they close. I mean, that's just how they been living the monster the whole time, bro. And that black film means something, man. I don't know what it means, man, but I'm telling you, man, once this thing come into fruition, man, people gonna be shocked, bro. I'm talking huge, bro. Like,
you think that these things are gonna be like becoming more common?
I think so, man. I think it's just a matter of time, man, before we end up bumping head with them. Because, you know, I was rather surprised, man, to see that many like-minded people at that conference, y'all. And by the way, thank you for the hospitality, man. Thank you for the love. You, Bart, man, D.A. Roberts, man, all y'all, man. Thank y'all, man. I'm talking about, man, I felt like I was part of the team because I'm telling you, bro, like, I was comfortable knowing the truth, man. You know, I had went like 3-4 straight years, bro, like, blood, sweat, and tears, man, dropping video 2 and 3 a day, bro, just trying to show, man, just trying to show, hey, man, these things real, you know what I'm saying? And then with all the ridicule and the immaturity of the community, man, you know, I just slowly start losing passion for it, bro. You feel me? Because in the end, comfortable knowing that I know the truth, and it didn't matter what nobody think, man. You know,
that's what happens with a lot of people, in particular when you have the ethereal type of encounters. My nephew had one in New Orleans. He was homeless temporarily by his choice. He could have came home and lived with us, but he chose because he didn't want to follow rules. So he went to go. He was in New Orleans, and he was wandering around near a very famous cemetery, and you know, I believe it's the one with Madame Laveau. I think, is that what she's called? I don't know if that's the name of her, the witch or whatever. But he was walking by that cemetery, and he sees this really tall, like, shadow, kind of, you know, and it shows up on the wall. And he's told the story on my show, but it was an ethereal Dogman. My wife's encounter, I believe, was more ethereal, you know. And I always thought mine was physical, but then my friend's brother back in 2019 said he saw these weird vapors coming off the back of its neck. And my friend's mother always said that it was Diablo. It was a devil. You know, it was evil. You know, she thought it was a bad thing, you know. And she only told that story one time before she died. And to the day she died, she always believed that it was Diablito, you know. And she would call it the fantasma, which is like ghosts in Spanish, you know, but it was like evil, you know, an evil. And one of the things that I remember people saying, well, how could it manipulate the fence and do all this and that, you know, when they would break down my story, you know. And I told them, I said, dude, I don't even know how I made my legs wobble to the fence and then run into the house. I don't even know how I did that. But, you know, this thing was manipulating a fence. And it was like years later when I worked in a building, and it's in the episode called The Haunted Tower, there was something that mimicked that creature. And I think it was a mimic, but I think it was demonic. And I think it knew what my fear was. So it manifested itself as that. And I remember watching the old version of the movie It. And I remember that scene where the kid was, I think he was like in the library or something, and a werewolf showed up because it knew that that's what he was afraid of. And I just got so freaked out because I didn't remember that movie. And then one day I was watching it just like a couple years ago, and I was like, whoa, that it totally hit home to me, because that's what this thing did in the Haunted Tower. Like, it basically mimicked, I think it was a mimic, you know, or it may have been the same creature just manifesting itself smaller with clothes on, you know. And so I've often wondered that. People say, well, I've been stalked by it. I had one girl, actually, Tony, do you remember this girl? She had a number designation.
Oh yeah, actually, this was actually my first case that me and Armando did together.
Yeah, and this thing followed her from Utah to Arizona.
Oh, it was like it was, what it was she got close to like one of them, and then all of a sudden the bigger one started following her around.
And she moved out of state, and it showed up. And so I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, so when you start going down the rabbit hole of all these cases, you take your case, you know, which I'm going to interview you for the book too, and then Bettina's case, you know, and then you take, you know, all these different cases, and there's this wide range of stuff, right? But it's so weird because I had an encounter in October of 1990, and then my fourth cousin, she had an encounter with something that looked almost like a shadow that came up out of Mustang Creek in my hometown. Then it like kind of evolved into like a werewolf. I mean, it looked like a black shadowy shape, but then when it got to the bridge and began to chase them, it took the form of like a werewolf, and it looked just like what I saw.
I believe, man, I'm telling you, man, I believe them things are what people call shake shelter job, man. Like, bro, man, I'm telling you, man, like, whatever people consider that Bigfoot, Sasquatch being to be, bro, like, one thing I can tell you he ain't is some dumb mangy doo-doo creature, bro, like just some creek walker. No, that ain't what he is, bro. Like, for real, that thing far more intelligent than anything. I mean, for
it's
real,
not an
man,
animal. We're not dealing with animals, no.
Bro, yeah, I'm talking about for real, bro. Like, man, I'm talking huge, bro. I'm talking huge, man. Hey, bro, like, for real, Josh, man, I'm talking huge, man. Like, for real, man. Like, I'm telling you, and there's plenty of them, and they got their numbers up, bro. Like, I'm telling you, man. And once we get off the call, bro, I'm gonna send you some pictures, man, of a dog, man, and I called in one of my videos, so they very much real. And anybody out there that try to debunk some of my best videos, hey, man, go right ahead, get them on the Shoutout page and debunk. If it's a fraud, you got my permission to get whatever video on debunk.
Well, I can tell you this, like I recently, I kind of got into it with Abe Seas or whatever, but when me and him talked, we were friends at one time before this stuff popped off, and I explained to you on the phone with Bettina. She knows all about that because of DFT. But me and Abe talked, and I said, Abe, we're on the same team. I don't agree with all the red circles because a lot of it is something that somebody can see. It's like he can see it, but not everybody else can see it. But I do believe that happens because I have gotten cases where 5 people, Tony knows this family too, the Hernandez Ranch. Okay, we worked with them over at, we can't say the name of the company, but we worked with this family. And one of the cases that we covered was there were 5 people that saw these dogmen and then 2 that didn't, and they were all looking right at it. But one of the people that was not part of that family, she was a white female, and she could not, but she saw a blur. What would you call it, Tony? Cloaking? It looked like a blur.
Yeah, it was like a like it just kind of like blended or something.
Like it blended in, but she could tell something was there.
Yeah.
The other guy was a black guy. And he at first saw, like, he saw only the movement of the trees. Like, he saw, but he did not see anything. And then the other people that were all of Mexican descent and they were all from that family, they saw dead on, like, these things looked like 2 dogman creatures.
Man, bro, I'm telling you something, Josh, man. Like, man, bro, I lost some of me, man. Like, for real, bro. After that encounter, bro, I lost a piece of me, man. I lost a big part of me, bro. I mean, I had got in a real bad slump, bro. I pushed my whole family away from it, all my friends, bro. Man, I went to soul searching, bro. Like, I forgot how to socialize. Man, like, man, bro, I lost so much, man. And I'm telling you, man, like, that comfort, man, was just a blessing, man, from God, bro. I really needed that, man, to help me break out that shell, bro. Like, man, I'm telling you, man, people just don't know, John, man, for real, bro. We in I
know. We're in the days of sorrow. This is the beginning of the time of sorrows. Just like what I was talking about earlier with the Denver airport and the apocalyptic, the elites are putting it right there in our faces. They're making murals of it saying, this is your future. This is what's going to happen. And then this woman has this, stuff happen. And then she has this dream, these apocalyptic dreams, and then these entities appear to her daughter. I mean, and then one appears in her room. And you're getting this stuff more and more, and you're getting these cases of these creatures appearing in people's bedrooms, and then they'll exit through a window or a door, but there's no sign of forced entry. They're just appearing inside of their house, and
So let me ask you that though, big brother. You think the Bigfoot man and the dog man, you think they like cooperate? You think they work together?
I do. And people have asked me this, and I've gotten flack about it. But if you've covered hundreds of cases, like I have when Tony's been a part of at least half of those, and you know this, Mushu, we've covered tons and tons of cases, and where people are having Dogman encounters, and then they're having Bigfoot encounters, or they'll have more than one or more than the other. But they'll, like with the Hernandez Ranch, for example, we'll use that for example, the Purgatory Road Goatman. I mean, they were driving down the road and they see this Goatman type creature. I believe it was carrying like a deer, like a deer head or something. Is that correct? I believe that's correct. But it's like you're sitting there watching, you're sitting there listening to these people tell these stories, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And people will tell me, well, how do you come up with these conclusions? How do you come up with these conclusions? Because the stories that you're getting from people are fleshing it out for you. I mean, no pun intended. But what I think, though, and Linda Godfrey, was one of my mentors, and me and her talked at length about this. And then I think Mushu, you were even on the interview with Linda, and so Mushu's talked to her too. And one of the things that she came up with, and she's like, I really believe this. And it was like right after the interview, we talked went a little more in depth before we got off the phone. And that night, I remember specifically her telling us that she really believed that they come from somewhere else, and then they become more physical. Once they become more physical and they acclimate to our density, that's probably when they end up going wherever they go. And then when people see them, well, they look physical to me. It looked like it had mud on it, or it was whatever. But yeah, because they've already become acclimated and now they're here. And maybe there are some that live underground. They come from another underground realm, and they could just move through a portal to come here, or maybe they come here from another star system and they go through stargates. But I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of people see these things in their cemeteries. My friend Arash, that is a good friend of mine, he's going to be in my book too. His encounter began at a cemetery. My friend Cosmo, who's a DJ, his encounter started in a cemetery. I mean, and I think because that is the places of the dead, that's where the living and the dead meet. And I think that's when these, what I call the Anunnaki or the fallen, they actually would go in and out of these stargates. They shed their physical body and go into the spirit form of the fourth density. And that's when these creatures, they set them up as guardians, protectors, like Xolotl of the Aztecs and Anubis of the Egyptians. They were there to guard these portals, to keep us humans from going in and out of them, because then we would learn and understand. And so I think that's why they're found in these places of power. That's why they're where they're at. Also with the elites, like when these big computer companies, they have these people that come down from Asia, or they come down from Europe. These big shots will come. People will see these reptilian type creatures. They'll see people's faces change, but the areas around these campuses, they'll see these werewolf looking creatures. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's all connected. And I think that when you're seeing what you're seeing and what Abe is seeing, is these creatures coming from the fourth density, and they're showing themselves. They're able to be seen by certain people.
I know the ones. I know I know the couple that I don't seen too. Like man, I'm telling you, all of them ain't got that corn top, man. Some of them things got flat top, bro. Like it's a couple of different types of them guys, man. Like a few different ones, bro. I seen a big white one, bro. Looked like he had on a hoodie, like an old school. I'm telling you, man. Like some biggest shoulders and arms and trap, man. Kind of puts you in the mind of a big Howard the Duck. Just don't have the earned beak, man. Just more of a monkey-shaped mouth, bro. And I'm telling you, man, all black arm and eyes, man. Like one eye peeping at me from behind the tree. Just huge. Biggest arms ever, bro, and it's plush. And it looked like the mane started in his chest, bro, and just went over his head, bro. And I'm talking like just plush, white, beautiful. Man, I'm telling you, these things, they got to be dimensional, man, or coming from somewhere else. And one time I lost a computer, man. I was trying to get some pictures, some stills from a video, man, where I had them things coming out of an orb, bro. I had it coming out of an orb, man. Lost my computer, man. Took it to the computer shop, bro. To go up there, couldn't even retrieve no picture, none of my family, no video, nothing. Whole hard drive, white clean, man. Couldn't give me nothing.
So, how long ago was your first encounter?
It was like 2016, whatever time. It was like
6 years ago.
Yeah, right when Hurricane Matthew was tearing up Florida, bro. And like I say, man, I had went into a bad slump, man, and I wouldn't have never, man. Like I was comfortable where I was, knowing that I just knew the truth, and you know, I just was trying to change myself, man. But I was just trying to break out the shell to be able to socialize and be me again. And I'm telling you, man, like I would have never said nothing else about this Bigfoot thing ever again in my life, bro. But I met B-Moth, man, you feel me? And, you know, listening to her encounter and stuff, man, you know, it kind of brought me back out of my shell, man, and that comfort was just needed for me, bro, like, for real, to be able to just talk to so many people about it, man, and ain't nobody judging you, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it felt good, man. And what's up to Ant, man, and Mushu, man? I met them brothers too, man, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was definitely cool having, talking to you and Moss.
Yeah,
it was a small.
Everybody was having a big party, and then I know Vault and all them were having a party and having a big get together, and then us and Barton and everybody was having a big shindig. D.A. Roberts and everybody. It was pretty cool, and Josh Nonocchio and
man, that thing funk, man.
It was a great conference. I had a great time talking to everybody and riding down there. You know, it was fun, and I had fun. You know, we got to do it again. Are you going to come to the next one?
Hey, by the grace of God, man, I am.
No, that's because we had fun, and we're going to do it again. So, I've talked to Bettina extensively about her experiences and what she's gone through, and you and her have a very similar outlook on that. So, I mean, you know, it makes sense that you guys would get together and kind of try to piece it together, whatever. When now let me ask you a question. It's kind of a personal question. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. But did all this contribute to maybe you and your ex splitting up?
Oh no, man! Like no, John. Like even at that time, man. You know, I mean, you know, we had small issues and stuff like that, but it wasn't nothing like after that encounter, bro. Like that shit, man. I lost. I ain't gonna tell you no lie, man. I tell B that all the time, man. Like I lost a part of me, bro. Like I had went all them years, man. Like picking at folks and their experience, and man, these folk crazy, man. UFO, you know, I'm talking about like for real. But at the same time, not realizing that I was a kid that stayed with different family member, man, and would always draw to churches and prayer meetings and Bible study and praying to a God you can't see. You feel me? So when I seen it, bro, it just put everything in perspective for me, bro. Like I know it's gonna be a power that's gonna judge all that. What his name is, how to get to him, hey, that one thing I can't tell you. But I'm telling you something, man. Something either coming, and hey, man, you better get right, man. That's all I can tell you.
I tell people that all the time, Mark, and you know exactly what we're talking. There's another level to this thing, and you know,
bro.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Dark Waters about this extensively too. I mean, like, there's a whole nother level of spirituality to this thing that. And one of the things DW told me was that whenever he goes on a show or he gets ready to talk about this, he prays up. And he literally, like, he gets his mind clear, and he gets, you know, he has to, like, go through his little, you know, whatever to get psyched up to talk about it, because he does believe that it is a very negative being. These things are not, like, a good in any shape or form. And all these people that think, oh yeah, I've seen them, and then you know they've been around my property, and I don't have a problem with them, and blah blah blah. That sounds good and great until something really happens. And then, and they also bring there's a I don't know what you would call it. There's a foreboding of dealing with them. I mean, how do you say it? What is the words I'm looking for? Like, there is a residual effect to these things. It's very negative, and it causes a lot of negative problems.
It's like a miasma that follows you.
Yeah, like I went through. Yeah.
Like my dog Rollo, bro. Like you mentioned it. Like my dog Rollo, bro. Like he was a pit bull mix, bro. Like I'm talking about a good little dog, man. And if you watch some of my video, it was a tree that when I sat on the porch that was to the left right there. And it kind of branches off into two sections, bro. Like, man, I had just went out there and fed Rollo, bro. And had my little towel, he's shaking the little towel and everything, man. Like, we out there bull driving around, man. 2 hours later, I come back, man. Tree pushed down on him, and he's stiff as a board.
That's terrible.
And that was right after I caught that phase video. That's like the most views I got on my channel. Like that video there, I got like 170-some thousand. I called him briefly, standing between the tree looking at me, bro. It was right after that, man, where they pushed that tree limb down on my dog out there.
Grace W says in the chat, they bring a spirit of negativity. Yes. I definitely think that's the truth. I do believe that they do bring something. It's intangible. It's not something, well, it can be something you can see, but it can also be something that's just very, I don't know. It just causes a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad that comes with this. Right after my encounter, I got locked up twice as a kid. I spent time getting in trouble and getting locked up and going to reformatory and going to treatment centers and all kinds of stuff. And they put me in therapy, and they wanted me to, pushed by my stepmother, she kept trying to tell them that I needed to admit that it wasn't true. And, the family that witnessed it, and my friend, he got locked up too. I mean, but the family that witnessed it, they even tried to step up and speak up and say, hey, we'll talk to any therapist or whatever and tell them this absolutely happened. But I kept being told, hey, this didn't happen. You need to admit that it didn't happen. So I sat in this one facility for 2 months. And they were like, well, I was free to go as long as I took medication and said that it didn't happen. And I was like, okay, everything's fine, but you keep saying that you saw this werewolf with your friend, and we don't care what your friend and the family says, about it. We just care that you need to admit that it wasn't true.
Wow.
And I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I sat in there for almost 60 days because I wasn't going to lie and say that I didn't see what I saw. And a friend of mine who was in there, I'll never forget, he was this one kid who was in, this was a treatment center place, and that kid was from Detroit area, whatever. He was really cool, man, and he told me, he goes, man, so you're just going to sit up here? He goes, I would lie like a mofo. I'll be up here telling them that. He goes, I'll be lying I'll be getting, because he was a brother, man. He was like, dude, just tell them what they want to hear, bro, for real, so you can get up out of here, man, because you're going to end up, catching a case, because I kept getting in trouble, and getting into fights, and they will literally shoot you up with Thorazine to get you to calm down. And I kept spinning out and telling them, look, I'm going to fight everybody in here until y'all get off my back, because this is what was real. This is what happened. And my homeboys kept telling me, man, just say that it didn't happen and they let you go, No. Nope. And I just kept on, and then my mother finally pleaded with me, but me and my mom came up with a great escape plan. I waited until the doctor, oddly enough, which was in Colorado, Aspen, Colorado. He went on vacation. This whole show's been a Colorado theme, but he went to Aspen, Colorado on vacation. Now, back then, all you had was a pager, I think, at best. I don't even know if pagers were a thing yet. So they couldn't reach him. And so at that age that I could sign myself out. Unless my parents blocked it. I just needed one parent to co-sign to get me out of there. And so when the doctor could block it, and then you could end up being court ordered in that place. So what happened was, when he went to Colorado on his little vacation, I went, even at that age, I was pretty smart. So I went up to the tech that I had made friends with, this one lady, and she and my mom became friends, and she kept saying, he doesn't need to be here. He's not crazy. He doesn't belong in this place. He's got some anger issues, but that's it, And so my mother co-signed or whatever to get me out of there, so they had to wait 48 hours. At that time, that was the rule. And so they tried calling the doctor. The therapist kept trying to call the doctor, and the doctor was vacationing in Aspen. By the time he came back or got to where he could call back or whatever, I was out. I was free. And that was, so, and my dad and my stepmom were pissed. They were mad, but why did they want me to be there just so I could say that I wasn't, that didn't happen, When we were in therapy, and they kept saying, you need to just admit that this wasn't real. And I had therapists, a psychiatrist trying to tell me that it didn't happen. One person tried to say they thought it was a dream. And I was just like, this is what really happened.
Hey, but get what though? But get what, bro? Like my experience, man. Like I'm telling you, man. Like I know people be out there looking for them things, hunting them, and for those of y'all that ain't seen them, man, I'm telling you, you're blessed. Cause once you do see them, man, it's gonna change your life for sure. Mm-hmm.
And you can't unsee it,
man.
Once you see it, there's no going back, and then everything becomes reality.
Bro, I got chill bump running up my arm, man. Like, I really tried to walk away from that thing, man. Like, for real, bro. I really tried not to just, man, bro. I really was trying to just forget this, man, and get my life in order, bro. Like, man, I went and got my CDLs, and, man, I'm talking about, like, just trying to get my life back in order, bro. I don't lost so much, y'all. To my for real, bro, and a big part of me at that.
What do you think about this? I mean, like, you drive a truck now, right, Mark?
Well, I'm yard hustling now, no, just pulling trailer to my farm.
Yeah, but like, have you seen these creatures in other locations, or was it mainly just in that area where you were at before?
Just that area right now, bro. But you know, I got a video call, 3 different kind, man. If you go full screen, man, and just it's already on like slow motion, bro. You can see the dog, man. I point him out. He's standing behind the 2 green little leaves right there branching. You can see him, bro. He close, looking dead at me. And I'm talking, I ain't 15 feet away from him.
Yeah, and that cloaking thing, too, that's another thing. People act like that's not real. That is absolutely real.
Oh, man,
Palmetto State Park, I mean, there's Bigfoot that have been seen, but then there's something that looks like the Predator. You know, they see this, like, like cloaked-looking... I don't know. It's built like a Sasquatch, but people see it like it's cloaked, like it's how the Predator looks, you know, in the movie.
I'm telling you, bro. Yeah. I'm telling. Hey, man, I'm telling you, man. Somebody can tell me they seen the Tooth Fairy. Hey, I got to believe them, Jack.
At this point, yeah, anything's possible. It just seems like
I got to believe them, bro. Yeah. I got to believe them, man. I'm telling you, man. It gonna change your life, man.
So, Mark, tell the people where they can reach what your channel's coordinates are.
Shouted Boy videos at youtube.com. That's it, man. You more than welcome to go and download, try to debunk, whatever it is. Get my bad video.
And it's spelled SHAWT
BOI video.
Shotty Boy, yeah.
Yeah, all pictures I post are from the footage that's already on my channel, bro. Like, I'm telling you, man, like, it's all real. It's all authentic, man. I mean, you're more than welcome to get whatever you want to get, man, and download it, try to debunk it, prove me wrong. Yeah. I'm talking about for real. Like, I'm serious, bro. Like, it's all authentic, man. I didn't add nobody for no money, Josh. I didn't try to sell nobody no product, man. All I wanted was valid opinion, bro. But in the end, you know, like I say, man, I don't know nothing more than what I did when I first started. I'm just a lost and confused with just a whole bunch of what ifs and what could be. You know, in the end, man, like, we all gonna make mistakes, man. But you know, man, if we don't get it together, man, as a nation of people, man, with all this petty hate and petty crap going on,
yeah.
Man, like, I'm talking about, man, divided, we gonna
Divisive.
fall in. It ain't gonna matter. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being for real, bro. Like, we all being watched, man. You ever been somewhere, man, that you know you by yourself, but for some reason, like, hold on, man, it's like something watching me. You feel me? Like, I'm serious. I mean, I don't see them move, bro. And they be like a shadow, like a blur to shoot past your eye. Man, they move so fast and so swift, bro. Like, you won't even see it when they move. It'll be like a shadow run past you right quick, man. I'm talking about it. Right, man, we dealing with something out the ordinary here, man. I'm talking about for real.
Look at some of the security cameras, though. I mean, like you know, we talked about this. I mean, you know, me and B, you know, we were having that conversation about the security cameras in some of these places that I've gone to. And Tony, you've seen this. I mean, when they try to show us, like, with what's his name, Ernesto's video of the duende, it looks like a blur.
Yeah,
the camera, it just stretches it out into like this brown blur, and you're like, and then you just see the lockers going, boom, 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 and they're all closing.
Wow.
But this creature looks like it. I mean, you can kind of make it out, but it's like the Tasmanian devil on steroids. And you're right, they move so fast.
Man.
You know, you're just like, you can't, like, when you see things in the corner of your eye and you look and you go, what was that? You know, I was in here in the studio the other night by myself, and I was recording, and I saw somebody go toward the bathroom, like, really quickly, and I thought, oh, that's Anthony. And then I thought, wait, Anthony's not even in here right now. It was just me. And I was on with Barton, and I think it was me and Barton and Daryl Denton, and I said, I said, could y'all excuse me for a minute? I said, I just saw something. And I was like, you know, while we were talking, but it's like, dude, yeah, it's very, it's becoming more and more common too. The stories we get, just tons and tons of stories, and like Mushu knows. I mean, we can't even keep up. We can't, address them all. There's so many, and it comes with growing and getting bigger as a show. But just the stories that I'm getting.
Well, I mean, like we mentioned when we were working out and we met
her name was Michaela.
Yeah. We met Michaela. She just said real quick something, and we both looked at each other like we knew exactly where to, file that and what position, and we knew
the
exactly.
Hat Man.
Yeah, it was like it perfectly fit in. But
she didn't know what the Hat Man was. All she knew was what the description she gave us, and we were like, "That's the Hat Man."
And it's just like that's just how it always happens. Is like you just end up talking about it, and one thing leads to another, and it's just another file gets filled.
Man.
And another thing too, I was going to tell you, Shadi, when I first started doing this, I made mistakes. Like, I didn't take into account certain incidents. Like, I got one out of the LBL, and I thought these kids were drinking, they were smoking some killer, and I thought, they were just having a good time, and maybe they got a little carried away. Maybe they saw a little something, coyotes or something, and then they jumped in the truck and he took off. And so then I didn't file that under important. I just kind of tossed it and thinking this is nobody's going to want to hear a story of these creatures attacking these kids when they're drinking and whatever. And then I look back and I really regret that, because I lost that report because I was taking things and throwing them out because they didn't fit a certain narrative that I had in my head. And then you have to start not only thinking outside the box, but thinking outside the entire, the whole area.
Having a box.
There is no box. You're just thinking, and you have to be open to any and everything,
I would like that too, bro. Like, if it didn't, man, I went, man, bro, like, if it wasn't, if people had theories and it didn't fit my opinion or what I felt, you feel, man, I was shawning it too, bro. Like, for real, man. Like, man, I spent hours upon hours listening to the interview, man, and I don't know, man, if it didn't fit my narrative, bro, like I was talking it to the side, man, but I do know, man, that everybody encounter different. You feel me? So I do try to be more patient and open-minded, man, because, I mean, I know they real, bro. And, everybody got their own way of expressing themselves, man. So, I don't show nobody when they hey, man, I listen, bro, man. I just tried to walk away from it, man, and just start rebuilding myself, bro, and my character, man. Like, because I'm telling you, man, that's something I'll never forget, bro. And until this day, man, ain't a day go by, man, a day don't crowd my mind. But I can't let it stop me from living my life, bro.
Yeah, you have to keep on living.
So,
well, yeah, Mark, well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on and then sharing your experiences. And we'll be in touch because, like I said, I wanted to go over some things with you. So I'll be in touch with you soon.
Well, you got my number, big bro. Man, I'm here, man, anytime you need me, man. Y'all boys stay blessed, man. Y'all stay safe, stay out of trouble, man. God bless, big brother. Talk to you later.
You too, Mark. I'll see you.
All right, big bro. All
right, bye.
Bye.
So, and Lyle just messaged me. He says, I should be able to order copies of the Texas Bigfoot book Thursday. Leave for the month. Let me know how many you want.
I think I saw Vault in the chat too.
Hi, Vault. If you're there, what's going on? I'm answering my friend here so I can get the books ordered. So I will be getting the books will be ordered.
And I wanted to say real quickly, if I've noticed a couple comments mentioning that they missed the live stream. If while you're subscribing, if you notice a little bell right next to it, if you press that, it should notify you whenever we do a live stream or we drop a video on the channel. So if you have if you keep missing it, just hit that and it'll send you a little notification when we upload anything.
What the hell are you talking about? What?
You know, this little bell right here.
What is it? What?
It notifies us when.
Is this some sort of game that you play on your computer?
You don't have this little bell? I might just have the new stuff. Oh, you might be on the old YouTube.
He's right. I'm messing with y'all, folks. Okay, I'm like.
But while you're there, go ahead and just press that subscribe button.
Yeah. Like when I get an application, I'm like, "What is this? What is this school you went to? UCLA, UCL. What is that? UCLA. What? Throw the application. I've heard of Pepperdine. Why didn't you go to Pepperdine? Why didn't you go to St. Edwards? Why did you go to this UCLA? What is that? That's actually from a sketch Not Live with Steve Buscemi. He's like, what is this? UCLA? Because I heard of Pepperdine. Why didn't you go there? No, the thing is, okay, what we are dealing with, it's just, I got notebooks, folks. Look at this. This is a note thick, just full of, stuff, reports that I try to write them down as I'm talking, and I can't type real good, but then I have all these other ones that I have to put into files, and this is a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and I wish that I could do more. I wish I could do more, and I am, like I said, I'm training. Okay, because I want to look a little better for the pictures at the Texas Bigfoot Conference than I did with my big, fat, manatee-looking self at the Dogman Conference, because that was 5 weeks not being able to use my arm. So I got pretty out of shape and portly. Somebody put a picture of my action figure up next to me, a picture of me at the conference, and they're like, oh, look at this guy. Oh, my God. He looks like a walrus. Well, no hell. No crap. I hadn't used my arm in 5 weeks. That happens. Of course, I didn't look like my action figure. And who does? Who looks like their action figure, dude? It's an action figure. Okay? You ever seen those wrestlers that, and then you look at Hulk Hogan, and he's like, he don't got abs or whatever. He's just big. And then his action figure, he's got abs and he's chiseled and he looks like he's been,
a Greek god. Basically.
Yeah, he's the rebirth of Achilles. I mean, dude, that's an action figure. And they thought it was going to hurt my feelings, and I'm like, I started yucking it up. I was like, yeah, of course. Here's another picture of me. Look at this one. I look even worse than that one. Who cares? It's a toy, okay? It's not real. It's not a reality. Believe me. So it's a silliness, dude. That's silly. It's silly, Paul. I'm telling you, it's silly. It's a silliness. It's like a sickness. One thing, though, that I can say is that, I have the ability to go and change what my body looks like. Their faces will always be ugly. And this one guy says, you know what I am, what I'm capable of? I'm like, being ugly all day? I don't... What are you looking for, sir? You will always be ugly, okay? I'm going to be what I'm going to be. I'm not the best looking guy. I'm probably a 9 at best, And no matter how hard I try, I'll always be a 9.5.
Well, I mean,
I can never quite be a 10.
That's insane in my eyes. I mean, you're selling yourself a little short. I'd say
Oh, really?
9.2.
Oh, well, that's not as good. I'm a 9.5. Come on. But I can diet and work out and get to where I need to be. These people's faces look horrible. Like this DFT's face. Oh my gosh, dude, he looks like if you took like a goblin and pooched its face together, squished its face together, like a Cabbage Patch doll, and then he's over here talking about people. Like, really, dude? Yeah, whatever, dude. Well, when I achieve the perfection, of what this third dimensional world has to offer, then I'll make tons of pictures and I'll let you know. I'll show you. I'll lift up my shirt and be like, here you go, guys. Look at feast your eyes on this 47-year-old man's abs. And I did have abs at one time. I was like literally 27, like 20 years ago, I had abs. I always had that little bit at the bottom I could never get rid of. I tried screaming at it and doing various things to get rid of it. It didn't work. I went to a few therapies, yoga, different things. I did the stretching. I hung upside down for a day. I drank Raven's blood. It didn't work. None of it worked. I don't know what. The Raven's blood gave me the poops.
Well,
I'm joking, folks. I did not do those things. The Raven's blood, yeah, but not the other stuff. I did not do any of that. I didn't stretch or anything else. People take things so literal. They're like, this guy's horrible. Like, he's horrible. He says the most horrible things. And somebody told me the other day, they're like, I hope you get what you have coming to you, Josh Turner. You have made a laughing stock of our silly community with your silly, outrageous accents. How dare you with your silliness? I fart in your general direction now. I say that because they had a French last name. I don't want to be mean to French people. I don't have a problem with French people. This person had a French last name, and I was like, how's it going over there? You know? Are you enjoying the baguettes? What are you talking about? I was like, your last name is French. So, I'm just saying. Thanks for the bread. It's good. I like it. I like French bread. Don't you, Tony? It's good. When we go to the Italian place, we actually get the French bread, which is ironic.
I love it. Croissants.
It's just delicious. But yeah, this person just told me I can't wait to the downfall. You apostate. They didn't call me apostate. They didn't know that word. It was kind of big. But they did. They called me a few choices. And they sent me this. I was like, oh! I was sitting on the toilet, busy, answering people. And I was like, oh, this is horrible things about me. And I was like, and my wife's like, honey, are you okay? I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, you sound like you're crying. No, go away. I'm not crying. This person didn't insult me and call me names and wish for me to go away. Yeah.
I think Barn and Letitia are going to get off for the night.
So, I was just like, I felt terrible. I was completely, just taken aback by their mean name calling and telling me that they wish ill upon me. And I was shocked. I was completely shocked. I couldn't believe that somebody would say something like that about me. Because just about everybody loves the shit out of me. I'm surprised. I am very surprised. Oh, I'm getting a call. Oh, what's a weird number? What is that? Oh, what's that? Overseas. Hello? Oh, hold on. Put it on speaker. You are on speaker. I don't care. This is Phil. Why did you mock me on your show? I thought we were friends. I gave you my story for your silly little book. Now, it is, as you say in English, on and popping. Good day, der Wolf. Oh, jeez. Sorry, Phil. Phil Stern actually runs my group, the PRT fan page, and Wolf Turner or whatever. It's actually pretty funny. Sometimes they make fun of me in a playful way. They make silly memes or whatever. It's fine. It's what it is. Thank you for that. Somebody says, do you want to read that to me, Tony? It says,
which one?
What was it? My T. Josh just wanted to say. What does it say?
Oh, Josh just want to jump in and tell you and this podcast is the GOAT. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you for being a listener. Thank you for being a listener. I didn't want to wear my glasses. They wear them for a while. They started to hurt my head. I'm having a headache today. So anybody who wants to jump in real quick, say something, and we can answer a couple questions, and then we'll bounce. So if you have anything to say.
Michelle just shared a story about basically her grandma died, and before she saw someone enter her room, a woman, and basically lulled her to sleep. And, well, she didn't find out until the next morning that her grandma died, but she believes it was either a banshee or I was thinking more of what had happened with you.
My grandma.
Your grandma
appeared to me.
Yeah. Well, she's from Ireland, so she said that her mother said it was a banshee that came to her. What do you think about that?
I don't think it would be a banshee. I think it would be her grandmother.
I thought it was her grandma as well.
Because a banshee, because people will say goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And like everybody that knows me, I'm going to go on a tour when I die of about probably 40 to 60 days if I'm allowed, and say goodbye. But I'm going to do it in a very playful way. Probably just going to stand in the closet and look at you while you're trying to sleep with red glowing eyes, if I'm allowed to do that, and then jump out and be like, ah! And then when you freak out, I'm going to be like, oh, hey, it's me. It's Wolf. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, I'm actually dead physically, but I just wanted to say goodbye.
Oh, I had that wrong. Actually, it was her grandfather that died, but she saw a little girl in her room.
Okay, so you totally botched that one.
I just mixed up a couple details, but it was the same thing.
God. That is a totally different thing.
Yeah,
There's nothing like the same thing. This is why we don't let him field reports.
This is why I had to read it from the beginning.
Get two stories mixed up together because of him. It's weird.
Yeah, she was 5 years old when she saw it. But yeah, it was her grandfather that had died, and she saw a little girl.
A little girl came to her, could have been an ancestor or something. Mm-hmm. And because she was a little girl, they appeared to her as a little girl. Mm-hmm. And not everything's a demon, I'm sorry to tell you, but a lot of Christians and Muslims will tell you everything's a jinn or a demon. That's not the case. I'm telling you right now. There are human spirits that can interact with us at times. Now, sometimes they are masquerading as spirits of the deceased. That does happen, because and the thing is, these things can pretend, they can look like whatever. So why wouldn't they masquerade as spirits of the deceased to deceive you? People play with Ouija boards. There was this one case of a woman, and I can't even tell off the top of my head. I have to get my notes out to give you the exact whatever. But she was contacting her husband who had died in the war. And then it turned out that he was like a POW, and he had come home and he was alive and well. So who would and there's many versions of that story. That's happened multiple times with multiple people. So one woman went to a psychic. She's like, "Oh, your husband. I'm looking at my crystal ball. Your husband died and he left you. Blah blah blah." Turns out he was just overseas running around with some woman. Comes back. And all this time, this, Ouija board that this woman started messing with after the psychic told her that baloney, was like, yeah, I'm your husband, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they can definitely do that. Crystal Jackson says, Josh, when you haunt people, don't do that showing up in the mirror thing. I hate that crap. Okay, so basically what you're saying is, you want me to appear in the mirror standing behind you, because I'm just saying a lot of people say one thing and they mean another, so I'm going to take it that you actually want me to do that.
Talk about the ultimate Patreon gift. A one-on-one experience with Josh.
Experience while you're trying to take a shower or take something else, and I just show up. Hey,
take your heart medicine.
Take your heart medicine. I'm here. What's up?
I think Volt is texting you.
Yeah. Okay, so folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to jump off. Thank you for being on the show, participating. Thank you, Crystal Jackson, for giving me permission to show up in your mirror. That's awesome. Everybody who donated tonight, because we definitely could use it. We got to keep the show going, folks. If you can do a Patreon, that would be great too. Like I said, we give away a lot of cool stuff. For those of you needing a medium or large or an extra large, you're going to be waiting a little bit, but we should get it done. Hopefully within another week, we should have those in. We placed the order a few days ago. It takes a little time, and when we get those in, and then of course we'll be showing the new fall collection of last year, I think it was the purplish looking. What did we have last year? Of the hoodies, the different color. Go grab one of the hoodies. I'll show what you. And then the fall colors will be coming out. We're going to do a different theme coming up. There's many different colors that you can already order from and look at. If anybody out there is really large, like a 4X or a 5X, we have a lot of stuff in your size. So hit me up, and let me know because we're trying to clear out the old hoodies. We have a bunch of these 5Xs. Yeah, they look like this. Here, I'll just take one rare. What is this, a 5X?
Might be 4X.
Things have this weird smell to them when they're new. That was the color that we used last year. So we're thinking about going with like a purplish look, or a maroon. But we're gonna change it up a little bit and order a bunch of those. We'll have those as giveaways in stock, or if you would like to order them from us directly, if you're a 5X, I'm doing those hoodies at $20 from last year's hoodies, $20. So you make a $20 donation, I'll send you that and some other stuff. Or, just hit me up. We'll work something out. Doesn't matter. I'll help any way I can. I'll help you. We'll make a deal. You don't have to. I'm not just need to get rid of the inventory so we can get the new stuff in for fall. So come probably I'd say early November, we'll go over. We'll get the new stuff in and we'll show you what we got. Go to our store. You can order hoodies anytime through what is it called? Printful.com. I think our store is. Do we have the link to the store on this live, Anthony? Anyway, I think he's busy on the phone. I think he's actually talking to a witness right now. I actually just heard them talking. Somebody was frantically calling me earlier. Okay, so anyway, there'll be a link to the store. You guys can go and order your own hoodie, make your own whatever. But the ones that we're gonna have that are gonna be for the giveaways and stuff like that, and for the Patreon members. If you are a Patreon member, let me know when we get these hoodies, when we get the new hoodies in. If you'd like one for fall, if you are a Patreon member and you are a $20 tier Patreon member, I forgot we discussed this. What we're gonna do is, if you go 2 months, we'll give you a hoodie. You've paid for it already, so you'll get a hoodie. We'll give you one, especially if you're the 5X. So we can give you the 5X now because we have those. We need to get rid of them. The 4Xs. If you're a different size for the hoodies, and you're a Patreon subscriber, we'll throw those in. Oh, okay. I just got word. I don't know if this is true. Does anybody here that you guys know who Carrie Arnold is? I don't know if this is. Oh man. From Bigfoot Odyssey. Okay. I don't know. I'm getting word from Vault that Carrie Arnold from Bigfoot Odyssey just is passed away. In a car wreck. So that's unfortunate. Prayers to their family. Well, that's unfortunate. But folks, anyways, say prayers for Carrie Arnold's family. That's awful. It's awful news. Anyways, Josh Turner, PRT podcast.com. That's my email address. If you need to reach me, or send me a friend request on Facebook. If you're a clairvoyant, then you know whether or not I'm already going to accept your friend request. So, but I'm not against people who are clairvoyants. I'm just saying this person was snippy with me. So, but it's petty. It's not. It doesn't mean anything in the big scheme of things. Prayers to Carrie Arnold's family. I hate to hear things like that. But hit me up if you need to talk. I'm around. All right, good night, folks. We love you.